We're not going to go the full time that we normally do because I don't think that's necessarily comfortable. And obviously there are some changes and things, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But taking us through the first half, we'll do some recognition, some finances. We're going to talk about really some significant changes and our key priorities the next 30 days. We're going to dive in and talk about virtual contests, virtual club meetings, and then we're going to be diving into a data scavenger hunt a little bit later in the meeting, which will be a lot of fun. That takes us through the first half, and then we're going to dive in and have our board of director, who is obviously not here in person, visiting our district. She's going to be joining in the second half of our call. So you have a chance to ask her some questions. We'll dive into some realignment, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that is a little bit later. We've got our division huddles. So we will be using breakout rooms, and we will be sending you into breakout rooms with members of your division to get up to speed and catch up. And then we'll have time for reports from each of our division directors, and we will also have time for you to share your feedback on the realignment committee report. So that's the second half, and let's kick things off. Let's get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Some quick recognition. We had a member of our team who was not at the meeting last time around, who got all of her visit reports in first before everybody else. And that person is Hema. Hema, we want to recognize you. Awesome job. Fantastic job for getting those in way back in January. We appreciate that. And another one of our team members has been doing a fantastic job. They're working on their HBL. They've put a team together to execute it. They've been working on emails. They've been doing phone call blitzes with their team. That person is none only than our renewals chair, Kevin Powell, who's been doing a fantastic job, both him and his team, and we want to recognize that. Great job, Kevin.
Thank you.
Awesome job. I know we've been making some pretty big changes to our contest. We had to really flip a dime pretty quickly, and we've run already now the B27 contest. We've run the Division I contest, and we also did F20 and F32, which was a joint contest, which made things really interesting for our first go around at doing a virtual contest, doing a joint contest with two areas in one. We've been doing a lot of changes with that, and it really couldn't have been possible without a really fantastic team to really piece together how we're going to do this. My fantastic cohort in crime, Bet Bullhofer, thank you so much. Wing Lock, our chief judge, instrumental in putting things together. David Guy, putting together training materials. Steve Melman, who has his division contest coming up, has been attended several of these contests, has been really helpful with feedback on microphones and videos and how to run things better. James Forsland, diving into the fray, interested in becoming a technical host on our contest even, giving us feedback. Lisa Fairchild, always willing to step up and lend a hand in giving us ideas, not just for what we're seeing in our own contests, but also going up on the District 2 contests and getting ideas there. And Abe Masliak as well, jumping in behind the scenes to help out and to help execute a fantastic Division I contest with Kate Mills. Really, thank you all. We could have not really gotten this far with our virtual contest without you. Thank you all.
Woohoo!
Absolutely. We really appreciate all of your help and all of your hard work. Thank you so much. And I know the chat window is on fire. Bet you keep an eye on the chat window. All right. What else do I want to recognize? I want to recognize a new club. Yes, we have chartered a new club. Even in this environment, we chartered a club called SAP Academy Toastmasters out in Division F, and we are so excited to have them in District 57. All right, more recognition. I actually want to invite our district leadership chair, our immediate past district director, none other than Diane Ployce, to talk us through some other people that we need to recognize.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. On the website, Kevin has listed the District Leadership Committee's recommendations for officers for this coming year. I will go through them. For District Director, the District Leadership Committee recommends Bette Bohlhofer. For the Program Quality Director, we have 3 candidates. They include Ed Cullen, Julie Garrett, and George Marshall. For the Club Growth Director, we have 2 candidates, and this is new. Toastmasters International is now requiring that we advance a minimum of 2 candidates for PQD, and that includes both James Forsland and Bill Holsey. Then we go to our area directors. Thank you, Jerome. Our area directors, we recommend Robin Crawford for Division A, Mark Ventura, Division B, Chuck Bollinger for Division C, Carolyn Douglas, Division D, Garrett Ested, Division E. We still have openings and will gladly accept recommendations for Division F and Division G. Then Division H, we have Catherine Chung and Kate Mills for Division I. We are also accepting recommendations and nominations for area directors as well. So if anyone is interested in that, it's a terrific leadership opportunity, and I encourage everyone to consider it. You're welcome to give me a call for any questions or additional insights. Any questions?
What are we doing to try to find someone for F? Like, is there anything we can do at this point?
We are working on that, and if anyone has suggestions, certainly are open to it. We had one person who I'm not certain if they simply haven't gotten us their paperwork, but expressed interest, but we have not received paperwork. So until we receive paperwork, and Dennis, why don't you speak to that if you would?
Yes, we had someone who had said he was definitely going forward with it, but then he found out that he was going to be in some sort of educational program this summer, and he had to back out just yesterday. So is there any division that had more than one potential candidate? Because very often, I'm asking the group in general. Yeah, so if there's someone who is disappointed that they didn't.
This is Ramesh from Division E Director. I have another person interested in stepping up for the Division Director, Carlos. Maybe I can ask him if he's interested in stepping up for Division F.
Okay.
Excellent.
Terrific. Thank you, Ramesh.
Sure, Dan.
Can we get a little description of F and G in terms of their geographics and personality?
Ramesh, you want to speak to F, and since Kathy Taylor isn't here, I can speak to G.
Or I can, since I'm here.
Okay, Terry, please.
Well, I'll go ahead and start with G. So there is someone that I have been talking to about that, who is a current area director within G. So I really truly want to wait until after that. So Kathy Taylor and I have been working on someone, but for everyone's information, geographically, that is Santa Rosa and Lake and Mendocino counties, and it goes up to Eureka and Humboldt County as well. So it's a large geographical area.
It is. Or
Hans is on the
as
line. He can
Division F
probably-
representative, you or Ramesh, you want to talk about Division F?
I don't have much details Division F because I am Division E director right now.
Okay.
Hans is here. Hans, why don't you tell us about the lovely Division F? You're on mute right now, Hans. So I was in Division F for a while. And so I'll tell you guys, it is the Tri-Valley area. It's like Dublin, San Ramon. It's that little strip of land that's along 580 Walnut. It doesn't go all the way to Walnut Creek, but between like Pleasanton, those little towns like kind of all go together. But it's mostly corporate parks. A lot of corporate parks there.
Goes along 680.
680. Thank you, 680. I drive it all the time. I don't know why I couldn't forget it. So a lot of corporate clubs. And so you have challenges trying to get people to do things outside of normal business hours. That's probably why we're having a challenge right now. But the people who are there are very passionate. Jadis Fairfield is one of the strong leaders in that area or division. And that's what I'm going to say about F. Back to you, Diane.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we'll turn it back to Kevin then.
Awesome. Thank you, Diane. And I'd only add, we do have a lot of area directors who are on the line. You also need to be finding your successor, and you can absolutely get their paperwork over to Diane, who will hold on to that for our incoming district director, so those appointments can be made. Don't wait. Don't sit around. We can certainly accept that paperwork early on and begin that transition process. All right, I'd now like to hand things over to my finance manager today, not our timer, our finance manager, Gaggenbeer. And Gaggenbeer, I don't know if you'd like to share the slides or if you'd like me to share the slides.
It works both ways. You can share the slides. I can.
All right.
Thank you.
I will do that. Why don't you get started while I get that figured out?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope you all are doing well. Today, I'm going to tell three things, actually. The 2 months profit and loss statement from January 1st to February 29th. And before the slides are up, I would, who's presenting it? Yes, thank you. Next slide, please. Yes, so here is our profit and loss statement for from January 1st to February 29th. We did well. Our membership revenue was $10,386.93. TLI revenue was the meal that was after lunch that it was basically even out. It's $542. So the district revenue for the first 2 months was $10,928.93. Wow. So here are the expenses. The biggest money went into TLI. That was the big event in the first 2 months. TLI $4,523.72. Marketing $515.32. Communication and PR $1,060. It includes the meetup bills. And then education and training $641.97. Speech contest $829.70. Administration $818.01. Travel expense $1,315.36. Other expenses $522.92. So we spend around $10,227.07. Almost we spend the money we received. And these are not the final numbers because the bills are also paid in the month of March. And next. And I know in the last 2.5 weeks, I have received bill. I have all the bills prepared, but we are figuring out the best way to sign the checks, because in shelter in place, we cannot travel and meet and sign the checks, but we are finding the alternatives. And I want to say thank you everybody for your patience. You will soon receive your check, probably in 10 days. And meanwhile, next. Meanwhile, I will call for the reminders for the reimbursements. So remember the 3 things I want in case of the reimbursements. First is the receipts, the full receipts. Second, the voucher for reimbursement, which is available on our district website. And the sporting document. Now, what a sporting document is, which signifies the expense event actually. For a case of open house, I need the agenda, I need the guest sign-in sheets. I know we don't have running any open houses right now. Maybe we have it virtually. And then area contests, I need the bills, I need the voucher, and I need the agenda. For division contest, I know it's virtually, but you might be mailing the medals and the certificates to the winners, and that is also expense we will reimburse. I need the receipts for that. And next. Yes, and definitely this is the voucher we want. And I saw a message which William says too, that we can use Concur also for the reimbursements. Definitely we can look up into the alternatives and get back to you within a week. Thank you so much. That's the finance update.
All right, thank you, Guggenbeer.
Yes.
All right, there is a question period.
If somebody has. I'm
Yep.
getting on chat or maybe.
All right, if you have questions, you can hop on chat. You can also reach Guggenbeer by sending an email to finance@d57tm.org.
Hey, Kevin, this is Terry. And Gaggenbeer, I just put one into the chat room. I am going to have a check returned for the rental for a space that I had rented for the division contest that's no longer needed. Is there something particular that I should have the check made out to Division 57 or District 57, I mean?
That's a good question. Let me figure out the right way to get it, because we need it from the audit point of view also. So let me check into it and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's a good one. Any other questions? All right. Well, back to me. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the district. We've done some recognition and kind of went through some finance numbers. Let's talk a little bit more on the ground what's going on. When we look at the numbers are pretty rosy, and this came through just yesterday on the 19th. We're doing fantastic with renewals, which is that membership payments number. We're actually number 6 in the world for membership.
Yay!
All right, it's there. Didn't Photoshop this. All right, this is really a sign of we started early, and I know our area directors and division directors have been talking up renewals, and Kevin Powell and his team has been doing a fantastic job on renewals. Really exceptional work, and we're going to talk a little bit more about renewals.
Hey, I want to say maybe it's because of the availability of Venmo and PayPal. I think people, especially around here, are very, in tune with how to move money very quickly.
Absolutely, we definitely do have clubs that do electronic payments, and we're going to talk about that. Of course, we started the year with 151 clubs, and we're right now at 151 clubs. I'm hopeful we actually might get back up to 152 clubs just in this coming week. I'm kind of crossing my fingers that happens, that a club doesn't move into suspension. But I know things have been a little topsy-turvy with things as of late. So really from a number of paid clubs and new clubs are doing fantastic. And last I saw, we still have like more than 90 clubs. 2/3 of our clubs have 4 or more DCP points. So I know we're going to do fantastic around distinguished clubs, but those are just the numbers. If you just looked at these numbers, you would probably say everything is going fantastic in our district. Everything is perfect. Everybody's having a great time. Excellent club meetings. But that isn't the case, is it? The reality. Let's talk about the reality a little bit of what's happening. So, as you all know, and I'm going to repeat this in case anybody hasn't heard, California has declared a statewide shelter in place, okay? Which means you stay in your home and you stay put there, maybe go for walks, enjoy nature. If you have to go to work, it needs to be an essential service, all right? Or going to the grocery store, something essential. That is in place indefinitely across all of California. I have no control over this. I am a district director, not a governor of a state. I have no control over this. And the reality is that Toastmasters is not an essential in-person activity. And if anybody disagrees, you know, you can say that jokingly, but it is absolutely not. The safety of our members and of our community comes first and foremost. I've worked with district leaders in the past who I don't think did that, who did put their own interests and the interests of the district ahead of the health of members, and that to me is unacceptable. And it's not going to fly here. So from, not from today, from when it was announced, I think on the 17th or 18th, forgive me if I get my dates wrong, all club meetings must be virtual. All right. All area contests must be 100% virtual. All division contests must be 100% virtual. And depending on what the situation looks like, the district contest and the district conference and the business meeting will all be virtual. And there's no exceptions. There are no exceptions to this. All right. Take it from somebody who's been coughing for 14 days now and been sheltered in place. This is serious business. All right. And we're going to treat it as such. So that's just the reality on the ground. Toastmasters International has decided, and Naomi will be on later and you can ask her questions, but they have also reiterated that on March 14th, days ago, that all area, division, and district events before June 1st around the entire globe must be virtual. All right, so yes, our state is in a shelter in place, but we all know that this is a global pandemic and we must treat it as such. So really important, just, setting the foundation here. This is serious stuff and we're treating it as such. But that doesn't mean we can't gather in our community. We can't recognize the fantastic accomplishments for what we've been doing around renewals, around running virtual contests and people running virtual meetings. All of those things are going to continue. Area visits to clubs are going to continue virtually. Life is going to move forwards. All right, we're going to keep moving forwards, but we need to just be realistic in the situation that we're in and recognize that we don't know when this is going to change and how it's going to change. I can't predict the future, but I think we've made the right decisions to get to this point, and we'll talk a little bit more and make some more decisions together a little bit later in the call. But does anybody have any questions about the reality on the ground? I don't want there to be any ambiguity. If there's anybody who disagrees with anything I've said, this is your time to speak up. And I'm going to take a look at chat.
Question?
Go ahead.
Thank you for the clarification. I just had a question about advertising the Zoom account login for our club meetings. Is it okay to present the link in the website, or is it supposed to be disseminated privately? Like, ask us for the details, and then whoever expresses an interest, we can tell them the link rather than just posting it to the world. Which one is preferred thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, Venkat. So we're going to talk about, I have a list of things we need to focus on the next 30 days, including virtual club meetings and how we can get every single club onto a virtual online meeting with Zoom or some other platform. So we're going to talk about that shortly. Norm.
Kevin, may I comment on that?
Yes.
There was an article this morning in the Times about a new phenomenon called Zoom bombing, in which people invade public Zoom meetings and post pornographic content on their screens. I suggest, to the extent that you can keep these hosted and private, you may find that your meetings go better.
Sure, that's a good point, Norm. So just to address that immediately, so we're sending up Zoom meetings for our clubs, and we're only sending that login information to their club officers or their club members. I have no intention right now of posting everything online on a website at this point in time. The only things that we have posted online are on our district calendar, which is our virtual contests. And we're going to talk about virtual contests a little bit later. I did get a question on chat about Paris in August. Ed Cullen is asking about the international convention. If you go to the Toastmasters.org website and you go to the Paris International Convention page, they have information there on how they're dealing with that and talking with the French authorities and public health authorities. That's a decision at Toastmasters World Headquarter level. I have no information on that. And definitely no sway. Somebody else wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, this is Hugh Bussell.
Hi, Hugh.
Hey, just to kind of piggyback on that earlier comment, when you set up your Zoom meetings, you can require people to register for that, and you can set it so they don't automatically get an invite. You have to approve all of them. So that's one other way to kind of keep an eye on things. So you can post something semi-publicly, but only allow the people that you recognize to actually join the meeting.
Absolutely. Definitely right. We're not doing that with the district Zoom because it's kind of a centralized distribution. But certainly if a club has their own Zoom or web conferencing account, they can definitely do registrations. I did get a question about how will evaluation contests work online. Bet's going to be talking about virtual contests in just a little bit. Thank you for that question, William. Any other questions? I'm not sure I see. Okay, Steve's asking, can his area directors publish the Zoom links? Yes. You can definitely publish and share the Zoom links for your contests.
I had a question, Kevin. I sent one to everyone about Zoom, posting the Zoom links on Facebook meetups. We shouldn't be doing that for meetings.
it's at the club's discretion. You know, we provide the Zoom links to the club officers, and they can decide how they want to distribute it to their members and to guests. And it is a good point, Lisa, because I do know some clubs that are meeting virtually that are having guests show up and come to their meetings, and they are signing up. We are getting new members, right? So even though we're not meeting in person, it's happening. Gaggenbeer raised her hand.
Yes, we were thinking of inviting our former members to the virtual meeting, but then how we will share the link if it's like making it private or?
So the links, aren't private. I've emailed it. The links that have been sent out by email to club officers. Club officers can email it, can put it on a meetup page, can send it to whomever they want. I'm not saying how a club should distribute that information. That's not my decision. That's a club's decision.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yep. Our clubs know how to market their clubs and to get members and guests and people engaged. So we got to trust them to do what they need to do. I did get a question about the District 57 conference. So we made a decision, I don't know, a week or two ago. If you look at the COVID-19 updates on the district website, you'll see kind of when things have been dated and when we've published some different announcements. And all of those updates have also been emailed to all of our members. All of our members have been getting all of those updates, right? So we decided before Toastmasters International made their decision that all events must be virtual to postpone the district conference until June 6th. So we were ahead of the game a little bit. At this point, you know, the next 30 days, the conference is not on my agenda or radar because we're in March, April, May, June. June is really 2.5, 3 months away. It's not a priority. James Forsland and Zora are our conference co-chairs, and they're focused, I think, just in this next week or two also on contests. Once we get past a couple more contests, we're going to circle back around and kind of figure out some next steps, whether we're doing a in-person conference, whether it's going to be a virtual conference, whether we cancel it, we don't know, because I can't predict what the situation is going to be a month from now, let alone 3 months from now. So no magic 8 ball, unfortunately, Mark. But we have postponed it, and if we can do it in person, I think we will try to do that. Yeah, Beth's made a good point. We're putting together some information on virtual contest meetings. Let's see. Jura had a question. Will our contest calendar be updated to reflect the Zoom information? In fact, they already do. That information was updated all yesterday, along with times for people to show up and when the contest will start. And we'll talk more about contests a little bit later. All right. Any other questions on the state of the state? I just want everybody to be on the same page with where we're at. Just talking about the facts on the ground. I will tell you the first update that we sent out where we basically said we're moving contests virtually. I did have one person who I won't share who they are, but they basically said that that we're making decisions based on the media and politicized, and I don't like your decision, and I'm thinking of canceling my membership. So hopefully, I think by now you all realize that no, we're only looking at public health authority information make decisions. We're following local laws, local regulations, and certainly following policies and guidelines set by Toastmasters International. That's how we've been making our decisions, and that's how we're going to continue to make our decisions. And obviously that the person who said what they said wasn't right, and I was. So, and we were. So,
Hey, Kevin,
So,
can I just
Yeah.
make one comment, Kevin?
yes.
Besides it being the right decision, we have found both at the contests and at our club level that our meetings are every bit as robust, energetic, helpful, worth the time and the effort to be there. We have had people in our meetings that we haven't seen in a long time. We had 18 people at our last Toastmaster meeting.
wow.
So I just want to say that we are not losing one thing. Well, you know, we're not there in the same room. So there's that aspect. But other than that, in terms of growing our leadership, presentation, skills, it's all there. So it's working. People need to know it's working.
I agree, and we're going to talk about that. All right.
So Kevin,
Go ahead, Beth.
yeah, I wanted to say something. Kevin and I like to have different views on things. And one of the things that I really see is, especially around my friends and even at the contest this week, is people miss people, right? We want to see the smiling faces of our friends. We want to be together. We want to share our stories. We want to laugh. And Toastmasters is a great alternative to sitting and looking at your dog all day, right? So this is such a special moment for us to take this opportunity to really reach out to each other and use the club meeting to still stay connected as a community. I have an employee who's living in Fremont. I asked Abe, which club should I send him to? So I'm not very religious, but I'm praying that he's going to join the Creating Better Communicators virtual meeting in 15 minutes. Because he's completely isolated and I can see the impact on him. So just getting people to be together, and Toastmaster, I feel like this format is actually really great for Zoom because it's organized. People, you know, there's different sections of the meeting. So that's like my viewpoint. And also I think that if we don't do this for our club members, they're going to just forget about Toastmasters. And when we come back from this event, there won't be a Toastmasters. So really, it's not just an option, it's just an imperative. If we love this society and want to keep moving forward with it, we do need to give this option to our members so that they don't forget about it. And when this is over, they'll have joined a book club or something. So that's what I wanted to add, Kevin. Thanks.
Absolutely. And
Kevin, can I jump in on that?
yes, Steve, you had your hand raised, so dive on in.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I just want to piggyback on what Beth said. I think we're missing a real opportunities if our clubs don't take it with press releases to the public. And I'm talking about old school marketing as well as new social media marketing. This is the type of thing that newspapers and TV stations would pick up if we market to the public that Toastmasters is got an alternative to social isolation, and that is participating in meetings virtually, and advertise the number of clubs that are doing it. I've attended 2 club meetings. They've both been successful. One had about 15 people, the other had 16. You can see all 16 people on the screen at once if you're using a laptop instead of your iPad like I'm using right now. And I think that the local news media would pick up on a story like that, and we could get on television as well as in newspapers to the extent people still read newspapers. But we can also use it by having all the club members market it on their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram. It's an opportunity that the publicity vice president should be able to really take advantage of to expand our clubs. And you know, like I said, the club I'm coaching is going to be having a meeting this weekend about trying to get themselves virtual. My home club, Diablo Champagne, had 16 people. They're going to advertise it to former members that came to a reunion meeting that we had earlier in the year. And I think it's a really opportunity to connect with people that have moved out of the area. We had a Sacramento member on our meeting on Friday.
All absolutely agree 100%, Steve. And you know, as I look at chat, you know, Marissa and James talk about people who just don't feel the engagement anymore. There are people who are not technical, who maybe would not know how to actually get into a Zoom or don't even have a camera. So we are working on some updated materials. Bet's working with Uncut and some others to put together some materials for our members. And honestly, if you go to the official Toastmaster International Facebook group, every club pretty much around, tons of clubs, thousands around the world are meeting virtually and putting together webinars, PDFs, PowerPoints, all sorts of things about how to run virtual meetings. Zoom, the district Zoom account, there are a ton of resources on there for how to get help, for how to do things with videos and tutorials, screenshots for how you do this versus that, depending whether you're on a Mac or your cell phone or an iPhone. So more resources to come. More resources to come, and we're going to talk a little bit more.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Breaking news. Venkat has just informed me that the article that he and I have been working on is live. This is breaking. This is just hot off the presses. Let me paste the link here. Everyone, please go out there. And if there's anything to add, this is all like a collaboration effort, and people are going to have so many fun best practices. So please let Venkat and I know so that we can add those. Back to you, Kevin.
All right, Jerome, I'm gonna go to you, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, really quickly, I've been encouraging clubs in Division D that are hosting virtual meetings to invite the members of clubs that are suspended or not hosting meetings currently in order to maintain continuity and connection to Toastmasters. I don't know, I can't quantify how well it's working, but I know that my area directors are making efforts in connecting the clubs that are meeting virtually to the members that may not be being served presently. So if you are wondering how to maintain engagement and have clubs that are definitely not going to meet virtually, encourage their members to join the meetings of adjacent clubs. For the time being, it's a good stopgap to keep them connected to Toastmasters.
Definitely. It's not, I don't even look at it as a stopgap. I think it's a necessity. I mean, hypothetically, I mean, if we're in a shelter in place for a month, I mean, we can't, a club doesn't meet for a month, that club, I don't think that club is coming back. I just don't think it's coming back. I think the members are going to decide, well, I can join another club that's meeting virtually. If this club isn't going to organize it and do it, I'm just going to join a different club and get my community and from elsewhere. So I don't think this is really optional. We need to be pushing all of our clubs to be meeting virtually. Definitely. All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. So what do we need to do the next 30 days? All right, the next 30 days, some key priorities. First and foremost, and I'm calling this a club health check. It seems appropriate. I'd like every single area director to please reach out to your club officers. Don't just send an email. Pick up the phone. Please call your club presidents and ask them, how are you? How are you? How are your friends? How are your family? And then you can ask, how is the club? All right. Health and safety first. Let's just find out how everybody is doing. All right. Remember, we're all human. And, you know, we have people who are losing jobs. We have people who don't have enough food, who can't see their loved ones because maybe they're old. We have people who maybe don't have a camera, right, to participate in Zooms. Some people who don't have groceries or the necessities, right? So as you reach out, to your clubs. Remember, they're human. All right, how are you doing? We need to ask them and find out if they're meeting virtually. I will tell you that we've got, I think, about more than 50 different events, unique events and club meetings on our district Zoom. I know many, like Alameda Tongue Twister, I believe, and others where the members have set up a Zoom or WebEx or something. We need to make sure that our clubs are meeting virtually. And everything you all just heard about why to meet virtually, and the stories that you heard about old members coming back and people having guests, those are all the things you should be talking about to encourage and motivate those people to get involved and set up virtual meetings. And finally, we need to keep going with renewals. And we'll dive into that really quickly. You know, I see tons of things on Facebook. Here's Elisa's post of chamber chatters, but I've seen others posting about their fun meetings. I got a great email from Renee and the Toast of Petaluma team, and I'll share all of these with you, right? These are great resources where you can say, look, people are doing this, even non-technical people, right? And skeptics who are like, no, I'm not going to like this. People are doing this. So we're going to give you resources that are going to be helpful for you. How do people get a district Zoom, right? As you reach out to people, if they want to meet virtually but don't have the tools, make sure that they don't have a club member who can provide a Zoom or a WebEx or something. Maybe they have an account through work. Or certainly a club can pay for their own Zoom account. It's $14.99 a month, which is not incredibly expensive, but it depends on the club, right? That might not work with their budget. If they don't have a member, if they need one, all they have to do is email info@d57tm.org to get a district-sponsored Zoom. We will cover the cost. You don't need to worry about it. We just need the club name, when and where they meet, and how frequently they meet. And we will get that information back to them. And we are putting resources online, as Bet pointed out, on how that actually happens online. And just to kind of share something here. So we do have a lot of people. I mean, this is our list of Zoom bookings. Like, we are running contests, contest prep every day of the week. I mean, pretty much right now, we've got 4 other clubs that are meeting right now on district Zooms. We're doing this, all right? It's happening. So those are the steps to get your district Zoom set up for your clubs. Any questions on that? Because that's really important. I'm going to take a look at chat. All right. Okay, Mark asked a good question. Can you have concurrent Zoom meetings? So right now, for example, we're doing a DECM, and there are 4 clubs that are meeting right now. We cannot set up 2 meetings at the same time on the same Zoom account. All right, only one meeting can happen at one time on one Zoom account, which is why the district is now paying for 6 Zoom accounts, and we may increase that. Why do we need 6 or maybe more? Believe it or not, 46 clubs meet on Wednesdays. 46. So if every single club on Wednesday needed a district Zoom, if they didn't have their own Zoom or WebEx, we might need to set up, 10, 15 different Zoom accounts to support all of them. So, but if we do that, it also means that we can support more clubs through every single day of the week. So that's why we've been scaling up on Zoom accounts to be able to account for that. Any other questions? I'm seeing the chat fly. Yep, Steve's right. You know, I have a WebEx account through my work, so I'm happy to use that. And certainly most people might have a Zoom or a WebEx or something, web conferencing tool that they can offer. And that's why that's kind of our first choice right now, to make sure that we can help serve everybody. 100 people can join a Zoom meeting right now. In fact, we had about 60 people on the Division I contest just earlier this week on Thursday. So we can definitely put a lot of people on, and we can certainly pay to get a larger Zoom account if we need to. All right, and if you have more questions on Zoom and setting it up, Bet can certainly answer those on chat. Renewals. So let's talk about this briefly. So we are, this year is that lovely orange line right up here, and we're ahead of the curve. We're ahead of where we were last year, which is very exciting. But I also look at how things have kind of slowed down. All right, the green line is kind of this trend upwards, you know, things were looking good. But as you kind of see right around March 14th, things started to slow down. Renewals have slowed down. And it is totally understandable why. I mean, look, we're meeting on a Zoom right now. We're not meeting in person. If clubs aren't meeting in person, it's a lot harder to collect renewals. And as you all probably know already, because this was emailed from Toastmaster International, renewals, the deadline to submit renewals has been extended to April 30th, which means that members, if they have not renewed, will not lose access to pathways until May 1st. So even though they may not be able to get a renewal in right now, they'll still have access to pathways, which is really critical because we need to still keep serving our members. It also means for our contests, clubs having paid their dues, members having paid their dues is not an eligibility requirement right now. So the only requirement for division contests is that they've met the educational requirements. But what does this really mean for renewals? It really means as you're reaching out to your clubs, you should really be asking them, how are you collecting renewals today? How is this happening? Are people mailing you checks? Are they sending you electronic payments through Venmo? Do you not have any way to collect dues right now to collect renewals? You should be asking them some of these questions. And we do absolutely have resources online and available for how people can set up a Venmo or a PayPal account for members to pay dues. And certainly we have the time over the next couple of weeks for clubs to set that up. All right, so we have time to set up electronic payments and to really follow up with all our clubs. And as everybody said, you know, we have guests and former members who are coming back. They can be paying renewals and dues too, right? This is not a time to be saying, you know, having people visit your meetings who aren't members right now and not follow through, and ask them to join and to certainly follow up and get their renewals. Kevin Powell, I know our renewals chair is on right now. Kevin, beyond the area directors really needing to communicate with their club officers right now with this club health check, is there anything else they should be aware of as they reach out around renewals? If you could maybe provide some quick commentary or feedback on that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. There is some support available. We do have a team here that has been working with renewals, and we have called every single club that is not yet renewed this last week. So every club president and every club treasurer is aware that we all know. What I'm planning to do is work with all of you, the division directors, area directors, to do some of the follow-up on this. So you may have heard from me or my team already, and perhaps the rest of you will hear in the next day or so. And what we need to do is keep the conversation going. Obviously, in these trying times, there's even more of a need for communication, teamwork, and leadership. It's critical for everybody. I think we all know if we're going to go give a speech and have an absolute panic attack, it's probably not going to go well, right? So panic is not good. Leadership, communication are. So let's keep people in Toastmasters. Let's get them renewed. Let's help them meet those goals. The renewals are absolutely critical, and I think even in these times, we can reach out to those members that may not have been coming to meetings recently and renew them as well. So let's look at this not as much as a problem and a challenge as much as it is an opportunity. We have some time at home. We know other people are home from work. Let's give them a call. Let's reach out. Let's see how they're doing, not just in Toastmasters, but how the rest of things are going for you. And if you have troubles with any clubs, anyone that you need support with, you can always call my team, and I'll leave my communication info in the chat.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin's going to post his contact information in the chat. Really counting on you, area directors and division directors. Please work with Kevin Powell and the team. Let's work through a club health check. How are you doing? How is your family? How are your friends? How is your club doing? Remember, we're all human, and some people are going through a more challenging time than others right now. We absolutely need to get every single club up on a virtual meeting. Absolutely critical. If a club is not meeting for a couple of weeks, for a month or longer, I really have serious concerns that those member needs just are not being met. And we need to find out why. If they aren't meeting virtually, if they can't meet virtually, let's make sure we're asking why. Why aren't you meeting virtually? What's the issue? Is it that you don't have a Zoom? Is it that people don't know how to use Zoom? They're not technical, they're not tech savvy. Maybe you'll find out that we don't have members anymore. Nobody's renewing. We've decided to disband the club. That's going to be part of your health check. And renewals is key. And as Kevin mentioned, and last but not least, as you make this health check, you can schedule a virtual club visit. Find out when they meet and join them on their virtual club meeting. See how they're doing, provide some ideas and suggestions for them to run maybe some better virtual club meetings if they're struggling a little. This is a perfect opportunity to do all of those things, right? Those are our only focuses, our only priorities at the club level really over the next 30 days. We're not looking at conferences. We're not looking at new clubs right now. We're not looking at open house incentives just yet. We might re-examine that as we go into April. But right now, it's just about doing club health checks. All right. I'm just looking at the clock here. We're at 10:08. Bet, I'm going to throw it over to you, and maybe you can share your own slides, so I'm not controlling it for you. And then we're going to take a break once you're done. And after we come back from the break, we'll make some decisions. We'll go through a quick poll on contests. Does that sound fair, Bet?
Excellent. Let's do it. I know that Naomi is joining in a few moments, so I don't want to go into her time. So Kevin, can you share the slides?
Hey, Naomi.
Hello.
Welcome.
And I can stay. Don't worry about the break and everything. Don't worry. I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you,
All right.
Naomi.
I will
All
share
right, so
slides. Here you go.
okay. Next slide. So virtual contests. In less than a week, I would say, Kevin as a great leader, and I really do agree with some of the people making comments. Kevin should be our governor for the whole state. He put together a task force. He told me that this is happening, it's coming, and just the foresight, the vision, and then helping me get on board with it. I think that was a big deal, because I was like, oh, shouldn't we just postpone? Shouldn't we, like, do we really have to follow these rules? Like, I mean, I went through all the stages of denial, anger, grief, and Kevin really helped me get on board and then focus on what can we do to prepare our district, right? We have 2,500-ish people. How do we prepare all these people for this big change? So getting me on board, then from there, we worked together to bring Wing and David, and then the division directors along the way. So creating materials has been a big deal. We have this, I don't know if it's on the website yet, Kevin, but we are working on putting this list of materials on the website. So it has the item, all the training, there's slides, and there's videos. So everyone can be prepared for this new kind of work that we're doing. Next slide, please. All right, so we have training for every role right now. Kevin did a video on the judge training, and it actually talks about ballot counting and chief judge and tiebreaker, and all those things are covered in that one video. My training is about the contestants, and I talk about speaking area, how to talk to the camera, you know, making sure that you're not like, and everyone raise your hand who loves meeting online. Oh, wow, I can't see everyone's hand, right? Because during a contest, everyone has to have their video off. So that I talk about how to prepare your contestants. And so there's really in-depth training for each and every role. So everyone should feel really prepared for this. Next slide, please. And we just published last night the contest script. We've been working on this for the last few days with the contests. I mean, we're really like building the airplane as we're flying, as that cliche is. But I wanted to get a few contests under the way so that we could see what was the best way to run this. And there are some things in here, like all participants are muted as by default as you enter. Right? So there's some things in here that are specific for this kind of contest. Remember to tell the contestant to turn off their video after they're done speaking if they still have it on, right? So there's little things that, you know, Kate was an amazing Toastmaster this week. She went out there without anything blind, and she did such a great job. And basically all these learnings are coming in, and we're taking notes and being agile to improve the process as we go. Let's move to the next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about how do you run these contests. First of all, there's a tracking sheet, and everyone should have their tracking sheet completely filled out at this point. I've been definitely sending a lot of emails to everyone, but maybe in the chat, you guys can send the links to your tracking sheet. So everyone should have their tracking sheet 100% filled out. And if you feel like you're a little behind, you know, I can work with you to try to get that thing filled out. But really only you as a division director and your area directors, only you know who your contestants are. You are the only ones who know who your judges are, your team, right? So Kevin and I cannot fill out this tracking sheet for you. It's really only you that can do that. So once you have that tracking sheet, which I've given you guys a template, if you have problems with that, please let us know right away, right? If we don't know that you're having a problem, then we can't help you. So also, if you can, you'll delegate. If you feel like this Google Drive stuff is just too complicated, delegate to someone in your team that is just like, oh, that's no problem. And then you together can fill out that together, right? You can send them the names of people and get the names, the phone numbers, because you're going to be texting the people like, oh, your sound isn't on, let me text you, right? So make sure that you have that communication. So that sheet is really important for running a great contest. Next up, once you have the tracking sheet with everyone's phone number and email, then you want to actually communicate with everyone. And you want to send them an email with all the materials. And don't just send them the thing and go like, okay, I did my job, right? You need to hear back from them. Everyone is nervous. Everyone's scared. We've had test speakers who are like, this is too scary for me. Let me record a video. We've had all kinds of interesting worries and things. So you as the leader need to help lead through troubled times, right? You need to help bring the team from a state of fear to a state of hope. And that is what we do as leaders. This is a chance for you to lead. So make sure that they understand, they feel prepared. For your contestants and even probably your test speaker, you need to have a prep session. And this is a very quick session. If they have watched the video and read the slides, it should be a minute that they just stand here, they test the audio, they make sure that everything looks fine, and then they sign off. It should be under a minute for each and every contestant, and just helps them feel prepared. You want your contestants to do the best they can. So you as division and area directors need to work together to make sure all your contestants are prepared. We had 4 sessions this week, and the thing is that like I'm trying to get the word out, but really I don't know all your contestants, so it's more like a broadcast. So you following up with your people is going to be the most efficient way to get everyone prepped. So that's, I'm delegating that to all of you as area and division directors. All right, next up, create your digital script and agenda. Now, what we've noticed is people like the second place will come in, or you hadn't heard from an area and now they're showing up, right? So try your very best to get this script updated, because as you're reading it, you know, you want it to just all be there. So try your best to get that thing solid and just over communicate with everyone to make sure you know who exactly is competing, because we've seen where, you know, someone swapped out at the last minute and now our ballots are incorrect. So this is all about, you know, good data in, good data out, right? Remember the old garbage in, garbage out. So it's up to you and your contest master. And I totally agree with you if you want to delegate this to someone that you trust who can handle something like this. Make sure that you get that contest script correct and the agenda and send that out. You need to also communicate that with Kevin, David, and I, who will be creating the back end pieces, the ballots, and those materials. Okay, so now you need to get on the Zoom meeting 30 minutes early to brief everyone. And we found that those briefings are so critical. That's the last minute checks on your audio, visuals, making sure there's enough light, right? Lighting is really critical for a contest. And then you can enjoy the contest. So Kevin and I, and we may be training a few more people to be technical hosts, but we will be moving people in and out of breakout rooms. That's how the evaluation contest works, is we have a breakout room, which we'll be experiencing very soon here with our own division huddles. And the evaluation contest moves to the breakout room, and then they can't hear anything in the main room, and then they're moved one by one into the main room. All right, so that's technically how you run the contest. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so how do you make this contest tracker? If you have not done this yet, which I doubt that anyone has not, because I think everyone is pretty much on top of it, but you make a copy. So I noticed that Division I had actually taken my contest tracker template and actually put their data into it. So there's a new tab now that has the Division I. So just ignore that and make a copy so that we're not overwriting each other's material. All right, moving to the next slide. So today we're all shuttered in. My husband and I are definitely tired of each other. You guys, a lot of you know my husband. So it's just like, how much Netflix can you watch, right? It's like, oh my gosh, how many, you know, and plus there's not going to be new shows coming out after a while. So everyone right now in the state of California, if not the whole world, is going through this sense of boredom. Like, we want live entertainment, and that's what we can deliver with these contests. Go to the next slide, please. 60 people showed up to the Division I contest on Thursday night. It was just an amazing experience. Look at this. This was one of the contestants right here, Xiao Jian, and he had his daughter. It was just so much fun for us all to be together and smile. And after being isolated for so long, this was just such a refreshing moment. And I think that this is going to be an amazing opportunity. I think that people keep talking about this, but this is an amazing opportunity for us to help our members to have a great experience. And that's what we're doing. We're experiencing excellence. And I think this is just an opportunity for us to really connect with our members and give live entertainment, something that Netflix cannot match. So let's do this. Let's make it fun. Prep, do the work. Just as someone said, you know, it's worth every ounce of the work that you put in. Next slide, please. All right, back to you, Kevin.
All right, thank you. So, fantastic. Thank you so much, Bet. And yeah, the team's done an incredible job to get us here through our joint F20, F32 contest, through our B27 contest, and just recently through our Division I contest. And I know we have more scheduled. The reality is, though, that we do actually have to follow what Toastmasters International has sent us on March 14th, which is that the DEC needs to decide together how we move forwards. And that decision is, you know, we kind of have a simple decision to make. The decision is either to cancel all of our area, division, and district contests. We can cancel them. Or we are going to decide to keep moving forwards. The decision is really no more complicated than that. And so I really just want to open the floor. I know it's 10:20 now. Let's open the floor for maybe 5 minutes. And, you know, if you have thoughts, feedback, we want to, you know, on whether we cancel everything or whether we move forwards, we want to hear from you. So Bet, why don't you keep an eye on chat, and I will manage kind of the audio piece. Does anybody have any thoughts or feedback on what we need to poll and vote on shortly? Go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I have been working with the Washington District 2 folks, and people on there are sharing how disappointed people are when districts are canceling contests and how fortunate they feel to be involved in that. And so I think I'm for moving forward. I think it really, as Bet said, gives us a really positive outlet to be addressing this current situation.
You need a motion and a second before you continue the discussion. Point of order.
I appreciate that, Sally. See, Toastmasters said we must hold a vote, so I'm skipping the motion in the second because we must hold a vote. And I can show you the letter.
Okay, because I was going to move to continue with the virtual I was going to move to continue with the virtual everything.
I appreciate your comments on making sure we follow the right process and procedure, because the letter from the board of directors states explicitly that the DEC must vote on this. I kind of dispense with a motion in a second, and I've gone straight to just opening up for discussion. Terry.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm totally in favor of going forward with the virtual contest and working that way. But I do want to just make people realize I've had 3 contestants that have withdrawn because they did not want to participate that way. And even though I tried to explain, you know, this is how it was going to go, I think we just need to be cognizant that some people are not going to be comfortable with it, and give them that opportunity to back out if that's what they want to do. And luckily, I've had runners up that can take that place. But just, I think we all should be aware that there are some people that are not going to be on board that are contestants.
Thank you, Terry. That's a good point to make. And I'd only add that I think some people may believe that, well, if we wait, if we don't do a contest now, we'll be able to do, because I don't like doing a virtual contest. If we wait or postpone, we will be able to do an in-person contest later. That is 100% false. There is no opportunity to do in-person contests through the rest of this year.
Yes.
So, Greg.
Yes. We are leaders. And that's what we're about. We've converted over from communication to leadership. That's where our new emblem is. And this is time for the district leadership to stand tall and strong. And I think even though there's a vote considered here, we need to continue with that focus of leadership to make this district continue for the future, the strength. And you can set that bar right now. And I certainly support this going forward.
I appreciate that. We've had certainly a couple of people speak in favor of. I want to make sure that we hear all views, perspectives, and opinions. Is there anybody who's maybe against it or feels that we should not move forwards with our contest? We want to make sure you're heard too, and all viewpoints are respected, and we want to hear them.
Kevin?
No, we can't. We can't hear you. You might want to try calling in on a landline or on your cell phone, because your network might not be very good.
Yeah, Michelle, why don't you give it another shot? And if you need to call in, we'll wait before we do anything. We want to make sure all viewpoints are heard.
Kevin, there's another aspect to this that you suggested, but that we haven't discussed specifically. And that is that to some extent, there's no going back. This is not a temporary situation that's going to be over and then everything goes back to normal. There are going to be permanent changes in the way that we do things, a lot of things, as a result of this. And one of the changes is going to be that more of our activity moves online. We may as well learn it and get used to it. This is the future coming toward us.
I appreciate that, Norm. Thank you for that. I want to make sure everybody, if they're not in favor, if they don't feel we should move forwards, we want to hear from you. I know, Michelle, you're trying to speak and get back on.
Hi, everyone. I don't feel like we should not move forward. That's not the idea that I was trying to push. But last week I was trying to manage my clubs, and one of the ideas that came up was that we cancel or postpone a meeting or two to allow people to adjust to this time, and then re-engage once people have gotten their grocery situations taken care of and figured out what they're doing with their children, et cetera, et cetera. Just a chance for life to set in and get people to get used to life before we move forward. My club members actually decided to push through and meet anyway, which was, it was up to them, and that's what they decided to do. However, if you have members or clubs that seem overwhelmed at the time, it could be a thing to do to give them a week to pull themselves together. And it might not work for everybody. I'm not pushing it as the thing to do, but it is something that came up in my clubs.
I appreciate that, Giroux. Thank you for putting that out about maybe
Kevin?
to delay. Michelle.
Hi, Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Oh, good. So, as you know, I've had some thoughts about our area contest, our division contest, and I spoke to all the contestants yesterday. Well, 4 out of 5, and 4 out of 5 were really not comfortable. One contestant was really adamant that this is totally inappropriate right now. And I feel that since this shelter in place has happened, people need to adjust. People need to realize that this is unprecedented time. There's a lot of stress going on. And I think that the contestants also feel added pressure by having to learn how to do this over Zoom. It's not something that you can just learn overnight. how to speak to a camera. I mean, it's a little bit more involved than that, and to get their comfort level. None of the contestants I spoke to had been trained and were feeling awkward. I mean, those are words that were being used. Awkward, unsure, just not comfortable. So I've postponed our division contest until such a time that I feel the contestants can be trained properly and also have more of an ease about what's going on around them. Yeah, things are going to change, our lives are changing, but right now, I think it's too soon. And I've gotten support from all the contestants, a couple other area directors, people in my club for this that feel really strongly that there's no rush. We just need to pause and breathe and take a step back and really consider membership and how people are feeling. Like you said earlier, check-in. Well, no one had checked in with these contestants. And I called them individually and spent time on the phone. You know, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And this is the feedback that I received. And I think it's important to pause. And I've chosen to pause with our division contest until such a time that there's a little bit more time between now what's happening and, you know, wait a few weeks and let people settle into this new lifestyle because it's not going to go away so quickly. And even though shelter in place is just till April, you know, from what I've been reading, it looks like it may be longer than that. So that's my stand on the division contest.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. I really do appreciate that. Is there anybody else who has thoughts or comments that they'd like to share?
I have a comment. I would like to verbally say something that I just saw on chat, which is to invite contestants to attend some of the other contests going on so that they can get a feel for how it goes, and to also have them the opportunity to do the training that's now available for contestants. I just wanted to say it out loud to make sure everybody heard it, because that was a great comment that was made.
All right.
Kevin, I have one counterpoint.
Go ahead, Dennis.
The one thing I'm really concerned about is people losing the Toastmasters habit. If you go for 1 or 2 weeks in Toastmasters generally, it's easy for people to just lose the habit of showing up. I think it's important to deal with individuals and talk to the people who are uncomfortable and give them what comfort you can. And I agree that if your contest was scheduled for this week, putting it off for 1 or 2 weeks makes sense for a contest. But as soon as possible, people really should start participating in online meetings. It's going to be awkward for everybody, but have everybody come together and work through it together so you don't lose the habit of getting together on a weekly basis to continue your Toastmasters journey.
This is Michelle again. I agree that people need to continue Toastmaster journey, and we're also meeting online, and I encourage everyone to go to online meetings and get comfortable. Our contest was scheduled for Monday, and that's why I've made the decision to postpone it. It's just too soon.
And I agree with that.
Thank you.
Hello,
All right.
hello, this is Abraham.
Hi, Abraham.
I agree with Michelle. For our division, our district, for our area, I think some of the members are a little bit hesitant right now, given what Michelle and a lot of others had said, adjusting to this new normal, and there's just a lot of concern in that adjusting. So I think as leaders, our membership is really important, and I think maybe just postponing it, maybe moving it back a month, maybe to May, so that we can get the rest of our members comfortable with this new norm and just acclimated with the software. A lot of people that are comfortable with it, you know, it's easy to have these WebExes and the Zoom, but for our other members that are still new to technology, and as surprising as that is, giving them time to acclimate with this new normal is going to take a few weeks. And I think still having the contest, but moving it out a month should give us enough time to use April to get people to use the software, to start moving them, start communicating how to use the technology and how to effectively communicate. It'll give us some time to maybe have a little bit more robust competition and get people to feel comfortable as opposed to rushing into it. I think it just loses the value because people right now are just in shock. They're scared. There's panic, and so as leaders, we can help calm them by being supportive.
Thank you, Abe. I think I can summarize the discussion to this point. I haven't heard anybody say, and I haven't been reading chat in depth, so forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's anybody who has stated we should not move forward with contests at all. So I'm just gonna leave the floor open for one last moment. I just want to hear if there's somebody who believes that we should not do contests whatsoever. We just cancel all of them. I want to make sure you're heard. If you have something to say specifically on that through chat or voice, please speak up now. Give it. Yeah, go ahead.
This is Kate.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, I'm kind of old school, non-techie. I gotta say, I've been through a couple of these virtual contests in different roles and have more planned. Ultimately, a well-prepared speech that's been practiced many times, augmented with what the district has set up as prep sessions with which all contestants can come on before the contest and practice what they look like, what they sound like, so on and so forth. I have found that the contests are fair, that they represent the true spirit of Toastmasters. I think the contest is well run because as we learn each contest, we share what could be improved. I would say that in all of my Toastmasters experience, I've been put in situations where a new officer in a new job I've never done before, I'm out of my comfort zone without fail. District 57 has gone out of their way to help techies, non-techies, whatever, figure out what makes them shine. And because they've gone to this effort, it's not like they're just like, click, you're on, give your speech. It's not like that at all. It's an all-out effort to make sure that each contestant is comfortable with how they look and sound with their contest speech. I would say, rather than put it off, which you can put it off for months, but the ultimate goal is to have Toastmasters shine with a little bit of a new challenge. I get it because I wasn't a techie, I'm learning. I didn't know about Google Sheets and all these other types of things in Zoom. But if I can do it as a Toastmaster contest chair, various roles that I fulfilled, chief judge, in these virtual things that I've never done before, I think pretty much Toastmasters can continue with this virtual way. And I don't know that putting it off makes a difference, but if that's good for you, fine. But I don't think so. I think you have the support. District 57 has gone out of their way to make sure every contestant, every functionary has the support it needs to be successful.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate that. I just want to leave one last opportunity if there's somebody who opposes doing any contest whatsoever, please speak now. Otherwise, we're going to hold a vote. After we hold a vote, we're going to go to a break, and I'm going to talk with Bet one-on-one, and we're going to figure out the scheduling piece of it because I do hear some of your feedback. All right, we can talk a little bit more about that during the break. All right. So, anybody opposed to contests and want to share or discuss? Just looking at chat. All right. Well, I'm going to launch a poll. Feel free to answer the poll. Let's move forwards with a vote. And I think the discussion on when to hold contests, if we move forward with the current schedule, if we postpone, it's a separate conversation, and we will hold that conversation absolutely. The poll should be popping up on your phones, on your desktops, on your tablets. If you have any questions about the question, certainly ask before you vote yes or no. And I'm just looking at the results. I believe we have a majority vote already. But I'm going to give it just a little bit more time, just in case. All right, I'm going to close down the poll. We've got 73% of people who have voted, and I think the results are clear. And I'm going to share the results, so you should all be seeing that. I think we have a pretty much unanimous point of view that we're going to move forwards with contests, and I do respect what people are saying about the scheduling and timing. And we'll talk about that in a little bit more depth and detail. But it's 10:40. We've been on for just a little bit. Let's just take a 5-minute break. All right, so we'll come back at 10:46. Take a break. Appreciate all of you being on here. I know it's a different experience when you're not face to face.
Bye. I'll be back in 5.
Everyone get as many snacks as you want. Anything you want out of your kitchen, it's all for you, okay?
All right. Hey, Bet, I'm going to throw you into a breakout room. Let's chat quickly.
All right, sounds fun.
Why you didn't do it? Okay. Kate, are you in like
Oh no, don't tell me everybody was muted while I was gone.
You were muted?
I got back and it said everybody was muted.
Uh-oh. Maybe it's
I
because
think
you're
we
the
muted
host.
ourselves just instinctively. So don't worry. And we weren't eavesdropping on any conversation that you two may have had.
No, I think it said the host has muted all participants, popped up on my screen when I came back from the breakout room.
I feel like we should all be wearing our badges. Like Naomi's doing so good with her badge. Let me just grab mine.
I'm not sure where my...
It's easy to get a little bit more relaxed when you're home. See? There we go.
All right, looking good, Bet.
Nice job, Bet.
Thank you. And I have my Toastmasters shirt on.
Oh, yeah. I was just trying to decide if I should go informal or not, but I'm pretending that this is my district visit.
That's true. It's true.
So, as a
gotta-
district visitor, I would wear something like this. So.
Yes, you look very, very professional.
Thank you.
Naomi, I know a couple of reporters for NPR, and they've on Facebook posted, their setup, before they were doing live interviews and things.
Right.
They're not wearing pants.
Kevin, are you trying to tell us something?
Too much information there.
Not suggesting anything. I'm merely advising everybody, if you are on Zoom and you have your video on, remember that people will see everything.
Oh my gosh.
You get up to leave.
It's like, oops.
All right, so I feel like we lost half of our population here, Kevin.
Oh man. All right, that was a little bit of fun. Super. Well, so we're just gonna kick back started. I can't tell when people are back or when they're not. Thank you everybody for your patience and for that discussion. We wanted to hear all points of view, and they were heard. And Bet and I powwowed quickly during the break, and so I just want to give the floor to Bet.
Right. Thank you. Yes, so if you do feel like all this is too much change and you just don't have enough time to get your contestants prepped, please reach out to me directly as soon as possible, and you and I will directly find a time that works for your contestants so that you can make sure everyone is prepped, because there's materials to get out there. It's communication. I understand that things are crazy. So reach out to me as soon as possible so you and I can directly work on that. Back to you, Kevin.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it, Bet. Appreciate all the work everybody's doing to keep moving forwards. We lead by example. If we do contests, it's going to get our clubs invigorated to do virtual club meetings themselves, right? This is how we lead from the front, right? Just like if we're not doing pathways, we can't expect our clubs to say, I'm not going to do pathways, right? We lead by example, we lead by the front. So I appreciate everybody's commitment to doing contests. And yes, work with Bet if you feel you need to reschedule some dates to make that work. Let's move on with our agenda, and I'm happy to introduce our very own Toastmasters International Board of Director. I had a chance actually to host Naomi, who used to actually live in our district, not far up the road. I had the chance to host her for a couple of days because she was evacuated. She didn't have a shelter in place. She was actually told to leave. And so I hosted for a couple of days. She's a dear friend, and our board of director sitting on the Toastmasters National Board. And I'm excited that she can be here with us virtually to share a little bit more about the perspective of Toastmasters from the board. And you'll absolutely have a chance to ask her all of your burning questions as well. Please help me welcome Naomi Takeuchi.
Thank you, Kevin. And Thank you, everybody on this call and this virtual call. In fact, during the break, Bet was saying, oh, I should wear my badge. And you notice I'm wearing my badge and I'm dressed appropriately because this is my district visit. Many of you know that I was scheduled to come down there this week, in fact, to be part of the International Director visit for District 57. And as Kevin had mentioned, I was a member of District 57, and after the evacuation of the fires, Kevin hosted me, him and his wife Ashley, and their dog Olaf, and I had a chance to get to know him better as well. One of the things that I love about Toastmasters is that we are all here to support each other, whether it's with regard to our speaking capabilities, with regard to what may be happening in our personal lives. And Bet mentioned too that what we have here is a huge opportunity to really be a source of comfort for our members, something that we can do that we love. We all love Toastmasters for a variety of reasons. And many times it's with regard to the fellowship and what we have to offer. And I was asked by Bet to cover 3 different things. One of them is what happens above the district level. Another one is how the board works and the leadership structure. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit, Bet, and kind of go in reverse order, because I think if I talk about the leadership structure, that might have everything kind of fall into place a little bit better. And thank you, people who are putting things on the chat room. I will say that Bet has asked me to speak for about 10 minutes, and then I'll do Q&A after that. So I just don't want to have to be distracted looking back and forth on the screen, if that's okay. And so with that, let's talk a little bit about the structure. So I'm what's known as an international director, and people who are above the district, so to speak. And I don't like the term above the district because we're really all a team. And it just happens to be that our responsibility as international directors are to help with the strategy of the organization. And I don't know, Kevin, if you got my link, but I wanted him to show you the link to the website where you can look at all the international directors that are serving on the board. And I happen to be the international director for Region 1, but there are, that's actually region advisors. We could talk about that too. Yeah, I gave you 2 links. So the other link is the international director. In fact, here's a great example. Go to the About, click on About, or if you're a Canadian, About. There we are. Okay, so you can see here that if you click on this, you see all of the people who are listed as our board of directors, from the international president, president-elect. The next one is the first vice president, Margaret Page, and then second vice president, Matt Kinsey. Those 4 people represent the executive committee. And then if you scroll down a little bit, I think I'm next. Oh, no, immediate past president as well. And then after Lark Doley, you see me, yay. So I was elected back in August. So for those of you who are fairly new to Toastmasters, maybe starting as an area director role, all of the people who are elected as international directors represent different regions of the world. And my region spans from Alaska down to Northern California. So District 57, yay, is the farthest south of my territory. And then it goes as far east as Utah, and then up through Canada and the Yukon territories. So it's a pretty big region. And I wanted to mention that there are 14 international directors, and don't worry, Kevin, you don't have to scroll through all of them, but if you can go ahead and pull up the region advisor link that I sent to you. We also have 22 region advisors. So the international directors work in tandem with the region advisors. And if you want to think about the differences, primarily the region advisors work very closely with the trios. So in the case of District 57, that's Kevin, Bet, and Ashley. Those are the trio members that are part of District 57. And in your case, as Kevin has highlighted, Region 1, Cindy Latch is responsible for 4 of the districts within Region 1. And then Sandra Nunez is responsible for 5 of the districts within Region 1, because I have 9 districts, and it's, as I mentioned, it's a huge territory. So to have to cover that for one region advisor would be a little difficult. And what their primary responsibility is with regard to operations. So they meet very closely with BET and with, for example, all the PQDs together on a call about what's happening right now. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that one benefit of being in Region 1 is that, especially in this time, is that we've had a lot of issues come up. And actually, you can stop sharing the screen. And I wanted to just give people an opportunity to know that because we have 14 international directors and we are a global organization, we have an opportunity to know what's happening in the world before many other nonprofits do. And so one of the things that I'm very grateful for is that we have such a cohesive board of directors from around the world. Can people see me, Kevin? Because I see your screen. I don't know if they see me. Can you see me? People? You could say thumbs up. Oh, there
Yes,
I am. Okay.
yes.
Okay. Because I know that we're trying to make this experience as close as if I was in the room with you. And I'm trying my best, because I know that for me, I look at different parts of the screen. So I'm trying to be focused here. So one thing that I wanted to mention is that because we have a very cohesive board of directors, we get information very quickly from different parts of the world. And as everybody knows, we're in a new normal right now. And what we're facing now is essentially what China was facing about a month and a half, 6 weeks ago. And we, as a board of directors, were first alerted about this because Susan Zhou, who's in China, happened to alert the board about what was happening. And so one of the things that is interesting is that each of us have different regions around the world that we're responsible for. So we heard from Susan what was happening in China. And then Ture Vuolasvirta, who's out of Finland, is responsible for Region 10. And Region 10 had all these issues coming up in Italy. And so she was keeping us updated with regard to what was happening around the world. And I believe that kept us more prepared as an organization for what's happening right now. Another benefit about being in Region 1 is that, yay, we're ground zero in Seattle, because one of the things Kevin didn't mention to you is after I got evacuated from the Northern California fires, that I just said, you know what, I'm gonna move to Seattle. I decided, all right, I got evacuated in October, and I ended up moving to Seattle in November 15th. I think 3 weeks after the fires, I just said, I'm moving to Seattle. I have a friend here. In fact, I'm renting a room in her house. That's where I'm at right now. And Region 1, as you know, goes all the way from Alaska down to Northern California. So Seattle, when we got hit, I was the person alerting the board about what was happening locally in Seattle. And the other thing that I just love about Toastmasters is our willingness to share information. So I wanted to also share with you, as Bet was mentioning, about different training and tips and the website. And thank you, Bet, for consolidating all of that into one website that people can go to. That there's also a website that District 2 in Seattle has also put together, thanks to the help of Roxy Stimson, who's also a PQD up here. And I just wanted to, I didn't send you this link, Kevin, but it's d2.toastmastersdistricts.org. In fact, I'm going to type it in the chat window so that everybody can see it. This is the other cool thing about technology, is that you ever know when you go to a conference and you can't read the text that's on the screen? It's like you can put it right in the chat window and everybody can see it. So that particular link gives you also resources that you can use from District 2. So the other thing I want to encourage people to do is to reach out to other districts, see what they're doing, see what kind of things that they're doing that are helping their members, that maybe we can leverage best practices throughout our region and through the world, actually. And so one of the things that Roxy's come up with her team is something called an online task force. And the online task force has been put in place to help members understand how to do club online meetings, setting up the area contests, all of the things that you've already discussed. So going back to the leadership structure, so we have the 5 members of the executive committee, we have 14 international directors, and the international directors are elected during the August convention. And many of you, I know this is probably on your mind, what's happening with Paris? Well, I can't really tell you anything because we haven't heard everything from the Paris and the French authorities. They're super busy right now, as you know, with what's happening. And as soon as we have a decision, we send that out, and it will be on the toastmasters.org/COVID-19 page. And going back to what I was mentioning earlier about how we were alerted about what was happening in China, et cetera, if you look at that COVID-19 page, and if you go in reverse chronological order, in other words, read from the bottom through to the top, or I should say that's chronological order because it's posted in reverse chronological order. But if you were to read how things evolved, you'll see that Toastmasters adapted. World headquarters, when things were happening in China, then the Chinese were given the same kinds of opportunities that we're doing right now as far as having the chance to do online types of conferences. And we've learned from them as far as some of the things that have happened, and that's helped us deliver going forward what we're doing today. And when it goes back to elections, I am responsible for Region 1, and the next set of elections would be the even. So I'm what's called one of the odd, the odd regions. So I'm Region 1, and then the even regions are elected the following year. So regions 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 14, the next 7 are elected. Now, things, as you know, have changed in the world. We will adapt, we will adjust. And I think it goes back to what Bet was saying earlier, as far as people are in their homes right now. They're looking for fellowship. They're looking for entertainment. We provide not only entertainment, but something reliable that we can do once a week, once every other week, however often your clubs meet. And it's that fellowship and shake that we're doing. If we learn to adapt this way, people come to us. You know, how do you keep is that people are scared, people are frightened, they're wondering what's going to happen next. And to provide that sense of comfort and to provide that opportunity for people to meet on a regular basis. And as you know, the board has made decisions such as postponing dues, because the last thing you want to have to do is to be stressed out contacting your clubs and your members about paying their dues by April 1st. I mean, that's what, 10 days from now. I mean, that's not what Toastmasters is about. I mean, clearly we do need to collect dues, but we need to make adjustments as necessary. So I think I've used up my 10 minutes of time, but that I didn't know if that covered what you wanted me to cover, or was there any specific other issue that you want me to address before I open it up to questions?
I just want to say this was really interesting to learn how a global organization is learning from each other, and, you know, to know that our brother and sister, and I don't think that's a word, in China are actually the pioneers in this and learning the technologies, and that you're sharing. I'm very inspired to hear that. And I think you covered the things that I want to hear, but I really want our people to ask questions, because everyone's got a question that I couldn't probably think of. So let's hear from people, and you can just go on, you just go off mute and ask your question, and we have 10 minutes for questions.
Okay, so
I have a question.
Okay, great. And if you could do me a favor and state your name, so because I can't see all the people online.
Yes. Hi, my name is Sherry. I'm in H19 down here. I have a burning question. We in Toastmasters greet each other with a handshake, and this is an international question, that, you know, there's different ways of not allowing the podium or the stage to be empty. Is there any discussion right now internationally to do away with the handshake? Maybe we are going to go to the bow or a different type of thing across the board, or is it still just everyone's going to be able to do their own thing?
That's a great question. Thank you, Sherry. So as you probably have seen, the president and the vice president have been doing the elbow bump, which honestly, I personally don't like that, but you know, I know that that's the practice that they're doing right now. Within Toastmasters, we have talked about this gesture, about namaste, that this is something that you can do that has your hands and it's respectful. So that's one option, for example, that you can do that. You can also like place your hand on your heart as another option to just kind of acknowledge the person and then pass it back. But whatever works well for your organization and your club in the culture, because some cultures, you know, they're very informal. So, you know, hey, elbow bump is fine. So I would say just think about your club, think about your area contest, think about what is going to work well for you. And then because as I mentioned, cultures are different. I know I went to one club where they kept referring to themselves as Toastmaster and then last name. So every time they'd call on me, it's like, Toastmaster Takeuchi, what do you think of that? And it was just so formal. That it was very, very off-putting to me. I wasn't sure how, but that's the culture of that club. Whereas other clubs, you go in and it's like, hey, how's it going? They high-five each other instead of doing the handshake. So I would say do what's best for you. We're not making specific recommendations right now, but you know, right now I think this is a good option. A salute is great, as Bet was doing. You do a hand over the heart. In fact, that might even be a good thing to ask people what works for the club. Thank you.
So thank you for that answer. So it is so should it be like a whole club doing one thing as opposed to each individual coming up and doing their own thing? Because that can be confusing for people. They don't know if they're doing the handshake. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. You go for the elbow bump and somebody's doing the air high five. I would say have a club discussion. In fact, now that we're doing this remote, this is probably a good time to say what kind of things look good. You might say, here, this was one option. Here's another option. Here's another option. Here's another option. Which one works for the club?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that is also sign language. So thank you. Okay, let's see. I'm looking here. Namaste is what we can do while maintaining distance. Yes. How about military salutes? Thank you, Bet. We cough into our elbow, so don't like the elbow bump. Okay, see, that's great. So I'm trying to read the comments too. Let's see, and people like namaste too, the namaste gesture. So like I said, talk to your club about what works for you.
Madam
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Yes, should the convention or the in Paris or wherever be canceled, might it go all virtual as far as the business meeting and the international speech contest? And again, I know there's normal registrations and so forth to conventions. I've been to over 25 of them, but my question is, would that be available to us to watch at home? Is that a thinking or consideration that the board might be looking at?
Thank you, Greg, for that question. At the moment, it's still a little premature because August is still several months away. We have been in discussions with the French authorities. So right now we're still waiting to hear back from the French about the direction. But regardless, we will be thinking about our members, about what's the best interest of our members and how can we keep everybody safe through this time. So the only thing I can tell you, I don't have any more information than what's right now on the COVID-19. But once we do make a decision, whether it's virtual or whether we're going forward with it, we will keep our members in mind with regard to what's in their best interest.
So we should still start collecting our club proxies to send forward to the international.
I would definitely do that. I mean, there's no loss in collecting club proxies, whether it's virtual or it's in person.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, we have this official visit only happens every other year. So this is really, really special. I really want to hear more questions. Don't be shy.
And I think they've allowed me to reschedule the visit because of this situation. So if the shelter in order place is lifted and later in the year, then I can definitely come back in person. So from what I've been told. Yeah, no, I won't come down before it's lifted, Kevin. So thank you.
I'm just saying it's not if, it's only when.
Well, and that's
move
a good
forward.
point. I want people to, I know, part of your jobs as leaders are to also reassure the members about what's happening right now. And one of the things that I've told people is that if you look throughout history, we're going through a global pandemic. We have never been in a situation where the global pandemic has happened and we haven't moved through it. If you name any pandemic, whether it's the Spanish flu, SARS, Ebola, any pandemic that's ever happened, we always get through it. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging, but we always get through it. And I think one of the things that people are too obsessed about right now is all of the news that's coming out about all these people and what's happening. And we're really doing the best we can. And think about it. I mean, in 1918, when we had the Spanish flu come through, there was no internet connectivity back then. We didn't have the opportunity to have these kind of online meetings and get information from our government about what to do. Some of the distancing measures that they have right now, if you take a chance to read about the Spanish flu, there are two case studies. One is about St. Louis and the other is about Philadelphia. And what's happening is Philadelphia decided to have a parade, and there were, I think, 100,000 people who came to this parade. And then several days later, it was traumatic for that city. St. Louis, on the other hand, did these social distancing measures. They canceled big events. They saw what was happening and they flattened the curve is what they're talking about. So a lot of what's happening right now is because we've learned from the past. This is what is helping everybody in society. And so when you are talking to your members about, oh, I'm getting antsy, I need to go out, I need to go do something, I want to hug somebody. It's like, well, you could be affecting other people. So this is why we're doing those distancing measures. The other thing that we have the benefit of now being 2020 is our medical system. I mean, you hear on the news about we need more respirators and we need more masks, we need more gowns. Well, back in 1918, they weren't even really familiar with microbiology and how things happen. So we are, if we're going to go through a pandemic, which we are, I feel that it's wonderful. I don't want to say wonderful, but we are in a time where we have the technology, we have the medical background to overcome this much quicker than any other time in our generations. So the other thing too is District 57, we were the first to launch Pathways. So we are in a position to be the leaders too of this online presence. So talk about Toastmasters timing. Think about if we had not launched Pathways, how would we get through this right now? So we are really in the best of times considering that we're going through one of the worst of times. So as leaders, I would encourage you to remember that too when you talk to your club members. So Julie, when it's safe for me to visit, can I plan a little time and visit C8 for some wine tasting? So Julie, I actually used to live in the northern part of District 57. I was in Petaluma. And actually, at one point, I was living in Santa Rosa, not too far from the Kendall Jackson Winery. So yes, absolutely. That sounds like a great plan. Okay, so thank you, Bill. I appreciate that comment.
Okay, I have a question since I'm not hearing tons of questions. How has your life, your work life, been impacted by the things you've learned in Toastmasters?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I think one of the things that I've been a Toastmaster since 2005. And one thing that I've learned through all the training that I've seen is the power of collaboration. And there was an exercise that was done in mid-year training, which is called Lost at Sea, where every person was asked to prioritize a list of items. You're on a life raft after a shipwreck, and you have all these items that you need to survive. And each participant was asked to rank the items as far as individually, and then they came into a team. And then they noticed that by getting different perspectives from other people, that the team outcome more than others happened better than individually. And I noticed that too, that being on the board, seeing all these different perspectives from around the world has been tremendous. I know that for me, when this was happening in China, and Susan was telling us that, yeah, we have a shelter in place right now. And, you know, I'm now at home with my kids, and she was still on conference calls. She was still engaged. She was reporting back that all of the Chinese clubs were still meeting, and so it gave me a lot of hope. And I think one of the things that has changed me in my work life is just having this global perspective. And we are part of an organization that's been around for over 90 years. And when we get through this, because as I mentioned, every single pandemic in the history of the world, we have always gotten through this. I am going to be so excited to celebrate our 100th anniversary, which isn't too far from now, because I have no doubt that we're going to celebrate that. And I think just from a personal perspective is that, and this goes back to why do people come to Toastmasters anyway, is that I have some of the best friendships through Toastmasters. And I bet if you think about your own relationships and some of the people you rely on and some of the people you trust, Kevin mentioned that here it is, I was evacuated from a fire and a Toastmaster, you know, kept me safe. So if you think about Toastmasters isn't just about building leaders, which is what we are, where leaders are made, but it's also, I think, where we provide comfort to each other and trust. And some of my best friends are here in Toastmasters. And I hope that for you, you feel the same way, that, you know, this is more than just a leadership organization, that we're here for each other.
I have a
All right,
question.
well, yes, go ahead.
We've heard a little bit about the alliance between Rotary International and Toastmasters. Could you explain the vision?
Sure, thank you for that. Well, I think, as you know, Rotary is an organization which helps the community, and Toastmasters is an organization that helps with educational opportunities. And there's often times where Rotary needs speakers and that we have the opportunity to provide speakers for them. At the moment, right now, the Rotary agreement is in its beginning stages, but there's this synergy that we see between what they have to offer and what we have to offer. And we hope to make that public soon. I can't say much more than that, but I'm very excited about it. In fact, one of the things that I forgot to mention is, as an international director, I'm allowed to drop into any Toastmasters club within my region. And in Portland, Oregon, there is a Toastmasters club that started from a Rotary club. And I had planned to go there March 10th. Well, that's going to be postponed. So I was hoping to learn more from them too, from their side of the view, about what Rotary is anticipating from us. But I would say I'm very excited about the opportunity, because I don't know how many people are familiar with Rotary, but there's a lot of Toastmasters who are also Rotary members, because their focus is more on the community, what they can do to use their funds to help what's happening in the community. And what we do is we develop speakers and leaders so that we can help with crafting the messages and being able to deliver, you know, hope and other things for the community as well.
This is Lisa
Thank you.
Fairchild. I have a question.
Okay. Hi,
And
Lisa.
it does not have to do with this current situation.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you have, I think in my division, I find the most challenging is corporate clubs. Any latest tips or tricks or success factors that you can direct us to or point out in terms of learning about corporate environments?
Sure. No, that's a great question. Thank you, Lisa. One of the other responsibilities I have is recognizing different corporations who have been very supportive of Toastmasters clubs. When I was in District 96 for my corporate visit, I had a chance to visit with Best Buy Canada and as well as KPMG. And one of the things that I noticed is that corporations who have a vested interest in their employees and fully support them, whether it has to do with providing food at their meetings, providing the space at their meetings, the collaboration, whether they fully pay for the dues or have the dues reimbursed after certain levels are achieved. I think one of the benefits of Toastmasters that with the new Pathways program is that now you have the levels that are achieved quicker so that you can show progress within Pathways to corporations. And I know in the past what they were doing is they were sending letters to corporations, to the managers whenever they achieved competent communicator, for example. And what they can do now is they can print their certificates directly and then show those to their managers, have them in their files, et cetera. So showing that our Pathways program has 10 different paths that can apply to different situations within a corporation. It's a great new change that we have within our plan.
Thank you. That would be really, that's a nice twist on it, is having, teaching members of corporate clubs how to encourage that support by using those tools to send their information out. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, I'm looking at the chat window. Wing, you were invited to speak at your local Rotary. Scary, but you will find more similarities with the TM clubs. I see Rotary projects as opportunity for HPL projects. Yes, that's a great point. Is that Rotary projects often, for example, in Northern California, they have a cycling competition where they raise funds, and the GIRO, I think it's called, GIRO, and they have to engage volunteers. You have to show leadership to a group of people. So yeah, that's a great point. And oh, Ed, yes, thank you. 11 paths. I forgot they added humor. And for those of you who remember, I was on the video with Ed, I think, and George and some other people, and I'm wearing what I was wearing in the video. So, and and I did that deliberately because if you remember, when we were launching Pathways, District 57, I often tell people, if you think Pathways was bad today, I mean, think about what we had to go through having to kick the tires on Pathways from the very beginning. So it's this district who had to go through, take a look at the Pathways program, provide feedback. I know, George, you did a tremendous job putting together the website specifically for Pathways questions. And for those of you who remember, my 15 seconds of fame was, we have 10 paths. And I was wearing this outfit. So anyway, so thank you, Ed, for reminding me that we have 11 paths now. So thank you. Should we visit our local Rotary clubs to have them start Toastmasters clubs? Why not? I think that any opportunity that you have, in fact, that would be another reason to reach out to Portland, to District 7, to find out if the Rotary Club there has some tips about how they started their Toastmasters Club.
Madam Director?
Yes.
I worked with two of the Rotary clubs out of the four in our county, and both the presidents have joined our club. And I find that this is really getting us an access by having their leadership join our club, that not only do they add to taking back to their Rotarians what we do in Toastmasters also opens up a little bit more speaking opportunities for us to come in there, explain about the leadership. And I know that Rotary is also an international organization helping people so much too. And I'm a Rotarian, by the way.
Oh, wonderful.
So it's, I find that working together in the leadership of the clubs, getting them to join each other, often open up a lot of opportunities for more membership from each to be dual.
That's a great point. And there's, as I mentioned earlier, that there's a lot of good synergy between Rotary and with Toastmasters. And if you already have people who are Rotarians in your club, then having them come back, or even having a couple people from your club being guest speakers, would help. In fact, you could even invite some of those Rotarians to these virtual speech contests as observers, to say, this is what we're doing as a speech contest now that we have these area and division contests taking place. Okay, there's James. Oh, hi, James. Pathways guides in the beginning days didn't even have access to Pathways. A difficult sell, but we did get it to work. That's right. Thank you, James, for reminding us. As I tell people that, you know, I go through different districts and I have questions about Pathways, and I said, you should have seen Pathways 3 years ago. It was very different.
So I think we've probably run out of time. But if you come back, then people will have more of an idea of what to ask you. So definitely come back. Thank you guys so much for the questions today. And thank you so much, Naomi, for coming here and being the space and answering so many good questions. And I feel like I've learned a lot about the global perspective, and I really, really appreciate that. So
you're welcome.
Thank you, Naomi.
Thanks everyone. And also the other thing, since we're online, this is another thing that we've been doing for clapping. So if you're in the sign language world, that this is another way that you can clap too. So anyway, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And bye, 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 bye.
All right, back to you, Kevin.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Naomi. We appreciate your time today. I'm going to kick things over. I'm just keeping an eye on the time here. I am aware we're coming up on 11:30. We're going to dive into realignment. We need to go through a realignment report, which is going to be led by the chair of our realignment committee, Julie Garrett. And Julie, I'm happy to share my screen, or you can control the slides, whichever you prefer.
If you can share your screen, that would be great.
All right, you got it. Fire away.
Okay, so Ashley, Abe, and I were asked to be on the realignment committee to make some recommendations as to what our new alignment should be for the 2021 Toastmaster year. Next slide, please. These are our District 57 areas, and our realignment goals are to the assignment of clubs to areas and areas to divisions. Next slide, please. So this is some of the criteria that we worked off of. Areas should ideally have 4 to 5 clubs. We have a minimum requirement of 3 clubs, a maximum requirement, or excuse me, maximum of 6 clubs. Clubs are assigned to areas based on location. This one's very important. The ability of area director to serve the clubs. As you know, Bay Area traffic is difficult at best when things are normal. So we want to make sure our area director is not having to travel long distances unnecessarily. And the club size, strength, and expected growth in DCP of the areas and divisions are looked at as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so our realignment recommendations that we came up with, starting with Division A, we had no changes recommended. Division B, we had no changes for Division B either. And then Division C, we are recommending moving the Vallejo entrepreneurs and business professionals to Area C8, where it is geographically located, from B21. Next slide, please. So Division D, we had no recommendations on Division D. We are recommending that is all set up nicely. Division E, we had the same recommendation there, no changes. And then Division F, we are recommending we move Bear Paws to F6. And then Division G, we looked at that one. There is definitely no changes for Division G. We think everything is good there. Division H, same thing, no changes. And then Division I, we are looking at the addition of a new area based on the current areas and the amount of clubs in each area. Definitely could support an additional area. These are our recommendations. And at this time, I believe we'll be breaking out, or I'm going to ask Kevin to announce that one. But there will be some discussions between the division directors.
So I have a question. This is Mark Ventura from Area 21, B21. Yes. I'm not arguing the changes, but for clarity on the Division B, saying no changes, but then affecting Division C, a club from B21, so that implies actually a change to Division B, doesn't it?
Yes, you're correct. I should have typed that under there, and that is the recommend. So there is a recommendation for Division B to have the club from B, the Vallejo club, move from B21 to C8.
Julie, this is Terry Boudreau. I have a quick question for you. From Division G, has there been any thought of moving G11 out of our district or even the division? I think geographically in Humboldt County and Eureka and Arcata, it is difficult for them to participate at all in any Division G activities. And it's very difficult for myself as a division director to even go up there. I mean, it's 5 hours one way. And I'm in the most northern part of the district. So I don't know if there's anything else in the Oregon area that would actually be closer for them.
Okay, so we only looked at division changes. We didn't look at, within the division, we didn't look at moving anything out of the division. Kevin, can I ask for your input on that one?
Yeah, Terry, I have actually did look at it. If there was another district that had clubs in an area or a division meeting close by, and there are none. So that little pocket, there's no other clubs in another district there. So there's really nowhere to kind of put them. You can't give them to somebody else, basically. But I think with the growth of now these online virtual meetings, there may be some better opportunities to stay in touch and to work with those clubs. I think this is the issue.
Yeah, I agree. It's really difficult.
Just a thought on club visits on this type of thing, or the areas. I know in Hawaii they have to catch a helicopter to do area visits, and I know in Florida there's islands that they have to get to. With this new virtual thing, maybe World Headquarters someday might consider some of these long distance type of things where we can virtually or Zoom in or whatever, because of that capability of an area or division director to service these clubs, that might lessen the burden, and it might make it easier to get more leaders at that level, knowing that that is available to them in the future.
Yep. All right. Any other questions?
This is Lisa. I have a question, and my question is, I have two questions related, and it has to do with, can we as division directors in conjunction with our area directors have a discussion about reallocating clubs to areas so that we are getting that mix of club challenges, club successes, also geographically? And then the second part B of that question is, when we get new clubs, and we're in the midst of potentially doing that, can we also have input into what area it goes into?
So we do take suggestions from the division directors. As I said, these are recommendations. We were working off of a little bit of a time crunch, so did not hear back from everybody. But if I read the agenda correctly, there is going to be some breakouts for the divisions to discuss our recommendations. And at that time, you can bring anything to light that we may have missed.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Lisa,
is there an actual
just one moment, Sally. So Lisa, when a new club is chartered, we do have the opportunity to align it to any division or area we want. So we can talk more about that when we get there.
Perfect, thank you.
Go ahead, Sally.
Okay, thank you. My question is there a specific recommendation for the rearrangement of an addition of areas in Division I? Because I think that would be very helpful to know what you were thinking about.
Okay, Abe is on my committee, and that was the one he was working on. So Abe, can you take that question?
Sure, Sally. What's your question again?
So it says add an area. Specifically, what does that mean? Which clubs would go into the new area?
So I put together.
How would that leave the other areas?
I put together a proposal of the 4 areas, and basically my initial proposal was simply location. So I looked at the map from International Toastmasters, where they show the maps of each of the clubs, and selected those clubs without even looking at where they are today, and just simply putting them into the areas that would have clubs closest together. So I did that, and I sent that to my area directors, and I want to have a discussion with them, because it's clear that I have not considered which ones are corporate, growth, a lot of other things that I think we need to consider, but I need the input from the area directors to make those decisions. I can show you a picture of what I've done, but I don't want to take any more time.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I just was wondering how far it had gotten.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
No question 4 areas are needed. The question would be the balance, and Abe is working on it. Thanks.
Do we have any other questions? All right. Kevin, I think it's all yours again.
Thank you. We are going to kick people out to some division huddles momentarily. We'll leave you there for 10-15 minutes. And I'm going to hop around to just discuss the realignment. I know Lisa had an additional question, so I'll hop in and kind of discuss those changes pretty quickly. And then we'll come back in 15 minutes. We'll kind of sum up generally where we're at with realignment and do a quick vote.
So Kevin, also things I want people to discuss in their breakout session is their plan for club visits. How are they going to do this touch point? When is everyone planning to do their touch point with their health check? Those kind of things, like just logistically. so that when we get back together, people have some feedback on the realignment, and then also what's their logistic plan with their area and division to just support their clubs. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions before we jump into the division huddles? And as you queue them up, just be aware, I've already assigned you into your appropriate breakout rooms in your division. You'll see a pop-up on your screen shortly to join the room. Just hit yes. When I'll go between the rooms to let you know when we're done, and there'll be a button on the bottom right of your screen to leave the breakout in red, or on the top right to leave the room. And if I don't move you, don't worry, I will get you there very shortly. So if I missed you, just be patient. All right. Any other questions before we go to our breakouts? All right, you're all about to be moved. Let's have fun in our breakouts.
All right.
Back at 11:55.
Hey, Steve, how are you? Can you hear me?
You haven't accepted yet, James. I think you're still in the main room.
No, I can see Steve. I can see his face.
You know what? What's your phone number? Does it end in 7175?
Yeah, I'm 7175.
Yeah, give me a second here.
Thank you, Kevin.
I need to see if I can move your phone number too.
Let me see if I can just hook up through the audio.
I got you. There you go.
Kevin, this is Hugh Bussell.
Hugh, I missed you. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, I was looking for the pop-up. It's like, I got no pop-up.
Yeah, and Hans, you're here right now because I think you're the only one here in F. All right, Hugh's on.
Thank you,
Mark
sir. See you later.
is out. All right.
Hey, Kevin, it's Cynthia. Could I go with D?
Yes, I can. Happy to send you to Division D.
Thank you.
So there's a few people who did not get the message about renaming yourself. So we have someone named Owner.
Yep. If you can still hear me, you're not in your breakout yet. And if you're not in a breakout and you'd like to go to a specific breakout, please just let me know your name and where you'd like to go.
Yeah, we have someone named Tree Woman. Such a fun name. So who's Tree Woman? Okay. Hans, do you want to just stay here and chat with us?
All right. I'm going to go hop between some rooms. I'm going to talk with Lisa and H, unless you need me.
How can I hop around, Kevin?
So it's really hard unless you're the host.
Don't worry about it, Kevin. I'll just stay and entertain the people who are left.
Yes.
Okay, quick question, Kevin.
Yes.
Is the breakout room only for area directors and division directors? Or
yes.
Attendees?
Yes, but I'm happy to send you into a breakout if you'd like to listen or participate.
I belong to Division I, and that's being remapped or something like that. So
you want to go there?
Not be it's not a bad idea for me to be there.
Dragonbeard, do you want to also go to Division I, or you want to stay here?
Send me anywhere. Any division, I'm okay. Let me see what goes around. I'm from Division I.
Yeah, she should go to Division I too, Kevin.
I
okay.
Ed,
I'm going to go to D.
You want to go to D?
Why not?
Coming right up.
Bill, do you want to go to F or H?
You're going to put me in H? Thanks.
All right. Julie, you want to go to C? Oh, well, I'm here to entertain, okay? That's my job here. Hans, are you even there?
He's away from keyboard, I guess. Okay, if nobody else wants to move, I'm going to hop between some rooms because I think there's some We need to take a look closer at D.
Okay. Do you know anyone? Do you have any idea who Linda Marie, which division she's from?
I have no idea. I could check the membership roster. I don't know.
Okay, don't worry, Kevin. You go. I'll entertain the folks left here.
All right. Thanks, Bet.
Okay.
Hi.
Look at your phone, Kevin, if
Can
I
you-
need to text you. Have
Can
your
you
phone
hear?
somewhere.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, I'm in Division E and Ramesh has left. So I don't know if anyone has stayed. Maybe we should meet separately.
I just invited you to move to Division E, and she accepted.
Okay, and what about owner?
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Sure.
I don't have a camera on my computer. So how there's got to be other people like me. I had to buy earphones to join Zoom. So what do people do when they don't have a camera or they don't have the audio on their computer to participate?
Do you have a cell phone?
Yeah, I don't use it, but I guess I could learn how to use the video, but why would I want to hold it for an hour and a half meeting?
Well, you can always prop it on something. There's a lot of, you can put a water bottle, right? And prop it on a water bottle. I guess maybe you can see. Yeah. So like I just prop my phone on my water bottle so I can see. So that's.
So Bet?
Yeah.
Owner. This is Robin Crawford.
Robin, do you want to go to D?
Yes.
Can you rename yourself Robin, because it's just very confusing.
Yeah. If I can figure that out, I will do that.
Okay, and you are from D. I've just renamed you. I think Kevin may have already left. So I'm gonna ping Kevin and tell him to send you to D.
Okay.
Yeah, the
thank
thing
you.
is, if you don't rename yourself, then we don't know who you are. That's the problem.
Yes,
Robin.
I'm one of these folks who are learning technical things.
Okay, it's no problem. Okay, so yeah, I was wondering who Robin was. So only Kevin,
owner.
unfortunately. I'm sorry, owner. Yeah, that's what I meant. Only the actual host, not a co-host, can move people to breakouts. So I pinged him. So in the meantime, you're just going to have to be entertained with the rest of us. So let's see. We've got William. Hey, William, how's the awards coming? William, table topic. Unmute. Okay. All right, William, you've been unmuted. How are awards going this season? I've unmuted you.
Slow. I received two OATMs and that's it.
Really?
There'll be a third one coming soon.
Oh, okay, great.
Mine.
Excellent. Thank you, Julie.
Okay. How about triple crowns?
I haven't received anything.
Okay. What about the Enzo guy? Wasn't that a triple crown?
Oh yeah, that's from last year.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna
got it.
mail it.
I'll have one of those too.
Awesome.
The OATM stands for Overachieving Toastmaster, right?
Outstanding. Okay, so Robin, you're still here. Robin, how are things going in D while you're here?
She's still on mute.
I'm trying to unmute at the wrong spot. D is going wonderful. We're working on the Division D contest, and which is a new aspect for me of doing it online. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm enjoying it, and I'm learning a new set of tools to use elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. So Robin, do you have video?
I believe I do. Like I say, I'm learning something new. I was on yesterday on WebEx. I had video there. So I will have to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can try to practice right now, right? Because we're all just waiting. We need to be entertained.
Start video.
All right, let's see it.
Let's see. Start.
Oh, wow, look at that. Yay.
My hair.
Now, so see how there's a backlight behind you? So that makes your face
Outside. Okay, so let me turn
shadow.
around.
Yeah, you want the light to come from in front of you. So that
In front.
see you.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Much better.
Oh my goodness, beautiful lighting.
So the light should be in front of me.
That's right.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
Yes. Oh, wow. This is nice.
Isn't it? See how
Yes.
quickly now you're a tech savvy person?
Oh, yeah.
So how you can learn how to rename yourself, because these are all things as you're prepping for the Division D contest, people are going to want to know. You want to definitely get everyone to name themselves correctly.
Okay, also, I'll rename myself now.
Okay,
Oh, you already did it.
I did do it because I'm also an overachiever.
I see the place to do that now.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, so that's something that people are always looking for help on, is just like, where do I go?
And you might want to take the Zoom tutorial.
Okay.
I recommend that.
Okay, so Robin, the other thing when you're prepping your contest speakers is to make sure they practice their speaking area. So just hearing, can you test their sound and their audio? This background is just amazing, isn't it?
Well, except you have no hands.
I know that's the problem with it. Most people
But
are
I
probably
do, Julie. I do have hands.
You have hands.
You have hands. Beth's hands kept disappearing.
Now my hands are gone.
I'm just getting, this is nice. I need to back up more.
So what you can do is adjust the laptop lid so that you can move and have more space. I thought, who was at Division I? Did anyone join Division I contest? It was just amazing. It was so well done. One of the things I really liked. So now the thing, Robin, is we can't hear you anymore.
You can't hear me. I wasn't talking.
Oh, that might be why. I have wireless headphones so that you guys can still hear me even though I'm walking around.
Back room. Can you hear me now?
It's getting a little quieter.
Okay. Maybe I'll turn the volume up.
Well, I don't know if that necessarily always works. It's really about the speaker, the mic. I'm sorry, the mic needs to pick it up. Yeah. So when you're prepping your speakers, all you're doing is just for 1 minute is just testing how far can they go back. And a lot of times they need to put their laptop on top of things. Like just put their laptop on top of some books or a box.
Looking down, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because you just don't want people. Yeah, the common mistakes are this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the time my mom, saved me from a lion, right? It's like, it's just very unnerving. So if you put a box or something, right? People are using books effectively. So they put a box on your laptop, and now you have a nice view. You can use your arms, and the main thing is to have your face shown. You see how, hey, Kevin, hey, Robin wants to join D. I've been entertaining her.
Oh, I apologize.
She hasn't been entertaining. She's been teaching.
Thank you.
I'm moving you over now.
Bye,
Can you send
Robin.
me to D as well, Kevin? His wing.
To D as well. Yes, they should be wrapping up pretty shortly.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Bye, guys.
To kind of summarize, I know Ashley and Julie are here. So D is going to start next year with 23 clubs in 4 areas because we're pulling in Blue Cross Blue Shield club that's being realigned from District 4 to us. So we either need to add an area or we need to peel off a couple of clubs into Division E, which has 4 areas but only 16, 17 clubs. We're not going to figure it out today, but we're going to dig into it at the annual business meeting. Everything else is status quo.
Cool.
Kevin?
Yes.
Hey, Kevin, it's Hans. Good morning. Regarding the presentation a few minutes ago about the realignment, they proposed putting Bear Paws up to area F6.
Yes.
Is there still an opportunity for me to talk to them about it, or should I talk to you?
I have a point of view. I don't think it's necessary at all. In fact, we are losing Diablo View in F20. So SAP Academy Toastmasters should actually move into F20 to fill that gap.
Well, yeah, we talked about that, but I believe your reason for putting it in F16 was to help that area become distinguished.
Yes, and that's
So,
just,
and
the realignment is just for next year. It's not this year.
Oh, okay, and that's totally fine. The only point I wanted to make is that F6 currently is all northern clubs up in the Walnut Creek area, and it would be very difficult to add a San Ramon Bishop Ranch type of club. I think that the driving, and it's difficult to get someone from San Ramon to drive up to Walnut Creek for a contest, for example.
I agree, which is why I'm not sure it makes sense.
Okay.
So I think we'll have to just dig into it a little bit more at the annual business meeting.
Okay, thanks.
In fact, I think this is basically where we're at. Division A, no changes. Vallejo Entrepreneurs is moving. Division D, it's either adding area or moving clubs into E. Division E either accepts 1 to 3 clubs or they stay as is. SAP Academy to F20. G is no changes. Lisa May wants to rebalance something. I don't know what she's thinking. We'll talk about that at the business meeting. And then I is an additional area, and then there's going to be an in-depth proposal on what that would look like at the business meeting. I think that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll vote on. It's a initial recommendation, and then we'll have some more in-depth discussion at the business meeting. And we'll have a chance to get a lot more feedback from people and hopefully start some new clubs in the meantime.
Yeah, and I guess regarding new clubs, I don't know if we're going to talk more about that, but I guess our approach has changed now.
It's everything's on hold. I mean, we may look at doing virtual kickoff meetings, but right now, the next 2-3 weeks, I'd say until mid-April, it's on hold. It's just we need to get our clubs on the virtual meetings. We need to go through a couple of contests. And George is a little under the weather. Nothing serious, I understand, but we just need to take a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
All right, it is noon. I think we just let the division directors keep doing their thing, and is what I'm thinking, Bet.
Do they know how to come back?
Well, I can close all the rooms and force the issue.
Because I really want to hear their plan. I want to hear their plan. Kick them out. See, this painting is this little painting behind me, but I took it and I blew it up so that it could be my virtual background.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can't. This mobile app has 0 options. I can't do any of that.
I can't do that on this computer, and I lost my work computer with when I was furloughed. So.
You were furloughed, Julie?
Yeah, yesterday.
What is that?
It's a layoff.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's horrible.
I'll be okay.
Wow.
What were you doing?
I work in a hotel.
Okay.
Which with a shelter in place, can't really travel to hotels.
What city were you working in?
Napa.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, so just like normal,
Hey,
we
everybody.
do 30 seconds for each division to give an update. So let's go ahead and start. Let's start with A and go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So let's just do it that way. So Niru, can you tell us the following? Any updates to realignment? Actually, Kevin, do we want her to tell us realignment things? Because we need to do a vote, right?
Let me just summarize, I think, where we are with realignment.
Okay.
And while we're doing the reports, people can vote.
Vote on a poll?
Yeah.
Okay.
So realignment. So this is a realignment for next Toastmasters year, not this year. It is a recommendation that's going to have to be voted on at our annual business meeting, which will be virtual. So it's not final. There's more time for discussion and changes. Division A, no changes. Division B and C are doing, one club is moving from B to C. I did talk with the Division D team. We're looking at either adding an area or moving some clubs from Division D to Division E, because Division D has 23 clubs next year between 4 areas. It's too many. Whereas Division E has 16 or 17 clubs and could maybe absorb a couple. But there's obviously some cultural things there. So we're going to discuss that. It's not clear. SAP Academy Toasters, there's a quick move there. I know Lisa wants to look at potentially doing some rebalancing of clubs within H. We will talk about that and have a plan for that at the business meeting. And then Division I, there's a recommendation to add an area, and there's going to be an in-depth proposal on which clubs and which areas at the business meeting. That's, I think, where we're at right now. It's not the be-all, end-all, but I think it's the recommendation that we need to send forth and start with at the business meeting coming up next. So I'm going to leave this shared and start a poll. And Bet, why don't you get going with the reports?
All right, let's start with A. Let's keep it to 30 seconds. And we're really trying to just find out what you're planning to do to support the clubs during these unprecedented times. So Niru, you're on. 30 seconds.
You're
So firstly, we are on Division A contest that is coming up on April 6th that we are preparing on how to do it virtually. Area directors are here for support. And meanwhile, we all are connecting with the clubs and encouraging them to do the meetings online, their weekly meetings. Not all the clubs are on board now, but Benny is doing a workshop, recommending a workshop with the club so that they can learn how to do online meetings. So that is in process.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, B, A, B, C, D. Let's go to B.
So,
And I'll put the red card up at 30 seconds.
so Division B is planning on going ahead with its contest on Tuesday. Hopefully, Kevin, we can coordinate with you for training on tomorrow evening. We have a lot of clubs that are already meeting online. B17's got at least 3. I know a number of the clubs are meeting to plan online meeting. We're going to reach out shortly to everybody, as Beth suggested earlier in the DECM, and we're planning on inviting people to all the clubs to participate in the contest as observers, if nothing more, to see if we can also get us up to 60 people at our meeting on Tuesday night, or our contest on Tuesday night. So that's where we're
Red
at.
card. Thank you so much, Steve. A, B, C. Let's move to C. And remember to look for the timer card, guys. Michelle?
Can you hear me now? Are you able to hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay, great.
Yes.
We're going to postpone our contest, as I said, and we're going to wait to see how things unfold after April 7th. And in the meantime, get all the clubs online on Zoom, and also share the links amongst all the clubs so that different club members can also visit different clubs. I think that's a really great way to just stay in contact and learn different things via the different clubs, and make sure that the area directors are keeping in touch with their clubs and seeing and just getting a feel for the pulse of what's going on with their comfort level with Zoom, but to make sure that everyone does have a Zoom link. We did it last week, our club, and we had 18 people on, and it was great. It was fun, and we will continue to do that. And I will continue to encourage that, as well as support the contestants moving forward and making sure that they're sufficiently trained for an upcoming contest.
All right, Michelle, we'll talk more about the scheduling. Thank you, Michelle. All right, let's move to D, Giroux, 30 seconds.
Hi. Division D contest remaining on schedule. I was a little bit apprehensive about that, wondering, I got some pushback at the beginning, should we postpone it? But when I made the decision to move ahead, because I had 2 weeks at that point, everybody that was on board before stayed on board. Robin, Rosanna, Cynthia Stott has been very helpful. All of my volunteers have been amazing, and we are moving forward there. I am also encouraging my clubs that are meeting virtually to reach out to their neighbor clubs that maybe haven't figured out how to set it up. I know a lot of my clubs had their rug pulled out from under them. So we're trying to reestablish contact with each other.
Thank you so much, Giroux. Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. A, B, C, D, E. And I know that Ramesh is in here, so who wants to speak for E today?
I can go ahead. This is Marissa.
All right, go ahead, Marissa.
So we have a couple things we've talked about. We have 2 area contests coming up this coming week, and our division contest right thereafter. So we're a little concerned that that's too close, but I'm hoping that we can make a go of it. We might need some help, some support to make sure that it all comes out okay. We've got a mix of some clubs are embracing virtual, some are really hesitant, some have postponed meetings, hopefully not indefinitely, but corporate clubs seem to be doing a better job, but even some of the community clubs, public clubs are also embracing. And I just wanted to say that if we as leaders beat the drum and are the primary cheerleader, it really helps, because I gave a speech on speaking in a remote environment, and they really embraced it and they felt really empowered from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Very nice. All right, E, F. Let's hear from F.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Great. So currently I'm calling each president to give them a health check-in and understand how they're doing and understand if they have any questions about virtual meetings. Just, first and foremost, understanding their needs and how being sensitive to what's going on in their personal lives. Our contest is going as scheduled on April 2nd, which is a Friday night. I'm sorry, Thursday night. And other than that, let's see. Nothing else to report at this time.
Awesome. Hans, thank you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, F, G, yeah. Terry,
Hey.
Take it away.
Here I am. All right. The majority of clubs are meeting virtually now. There are some that are just had their first meeting where they were trying it out and will continue with those meetings. There's only a few that haven't made that decision on to virtual, so I will lend my support to get those done as soon as possible. I'll be reaching out to our area directors to make sure that they are doing those club touch point check-ins to make sure everyone's okay. And the ones that I have spoken to, they are doing well and moving along. And then as far as the division contest scheduled for next Saturday, the 28th, wanting to move forward with that, but I am just going to touch base with the 2 area directors that aren't as much on board, just to get their feedback. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful, Terry. Let me know how I can help. Awesome. H.
We are having our contest on Thursday. We're all rocking and rolling. Kate Mills has done an amazing job as contest chair. We are touching in with our clubs, finding out what they're doing and sharing resources across the area with clubs that are, so that we can encourage rather than shame clubs or individual members in terms of going virtually. And I think all of our next team is on board for the next term. And so we're going to start having huddles across timelines to grow our team. That's it.
Awesome, Lisa. Get the next generation prepared. All right, HI. Abe, ready?
Hi. So we had a fantastic division contest on Thursday. Thank you, Bet. Thank you, Kevin, and everybody else that contributed. And thank you, Kate, for doing a great job, as well as Ashley. So that's behind us. And I think a top priority at this point is to make sure that all of the clubs in our areas are viable and will continue to meet virtually. So I think we're going to I'll work with the area directors to make contact with all of the clubs to make sure that they're going to move forward. Thanks.
Abe, wonderful job. And A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, we don't have a J. So Kevin, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Woo!
All right. I'm going back to my gallery view and just looking at all our fantastic leaders and I appreciate, I know we're a little past time. And I think we're past time because we had open, honest discussion about where we are as a district and how we want to move forward with contests, making sure that we put the health and safety of our members first and manage people's stress levels and comfort with contests. It was incredibly important to have that discussion. So I appreciate you staying on just a little bit later than usual. Work on your club health checks. We just need to make sure and check in with all of them. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's sunny. The rest of next week is going to be a little rainy.
Saturday, you don't have to go to work tomorrow.
Saturday.
That's right. So I just want to say thank you all and for being here with us today. Focus on your club checks. We have great contests coming up. If you are a nominated candidate for a role, I'd ask that you please stay. I have a quick 5-minute discussion that I'd like to have with you. So like Julie, Bill Holsey, Betts, I can work my way down the list here. Let's see, we got Bet, Ed I know is on the line, Julie's here, James, Bill, Robin, Mark, Garrett, I saw you on earlier. I think Kate left. If you could just hold on a minute, I'd appreciate your feedback on something. Otherwise, go forth and shelter.
All right. Kevin, did you need me to stay?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Bye,
All right. Thanks all. Have a great day.
Bye.
All right. While everybody's kind of heading out. So the reason I asked the nominated candidates to stick around for a minute is because I want to get your feedback, and anybody can stay for this. So I'm not hiding anything. I wanted to get your feedback on the date of our annual business meeting, which will be virtual. It is going to be a virtual business meeting. We technically have it scheduled, I guess, on the 25th. But I would like to move the date up. I'd like to do this 4 weeks from now on April 11th. But I also don't want to freak anybody out or stress anybody out. And so since the bulk of you are here, I just wanted to get your feedback. And obviously, if there's a couple people where they don't like this or want this, we'll stick with the original date of April 25th. I just feel it's important that we get our leaders in place as quickly as possible so we can start planning and how we're going to move forwards into next year. So that's my only rationale, but I'm happy to slow down and keep the pace normal on the 25th. Any feedback?
I'd like to stay
Can
with
you
the
hear me?
25th.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to stay with the 25th, but I don't mind shifting it forward. I think it's one way or the other. It's about the same. It's just going to come down to how do we build a quorum and how big of a quorum do we need?
Yep, I'm aware of that. And anybody? It sounds like I've already got 2 people right away to keep as is. If you want to just raise your hand if you agree.
No, wait, I have some discussion. So
Bill agrees. Okay.
I think my headphones are starting to die. Something, you guys still hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you good.
All right.
Yes,
Well,
I can stay on, Steve.
so the only thing I would throw in there, and it doesn't matter to me either way, actually, but the sooner we get the slate in place, the sooner we can start making sure we get all our area directors in place, making sure we have other roles like finance manager, so a week is it a week? It's 1 week, right, Kevin?
2 weeks. It's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks.
But it makes a difference. I'm aware of that. And
that's fine.
I think it impacts you, the nominated candidates more than anybody else. So that's why I wanted to hear from you. Ed, what are your thoughts?
Either way is fine. It's an aggressive schedule in terms of getting what the voting membership are going to vote on in terms of realignment, and there's budgetary things. Well, you know all of that. That has to get out to the members who vote, presidents and VPEs. So the aggressive schedule is, working, giving you more work. It doesn't really matter to me. One way or
Is that your preference? Is that your preference though, Kevin, is going on the 11th?
I think my preference is to hear what I'm hearing, which is the people who are saying the 25th are saying it doesn't matter. But I think the people who are saying no, don't do it on the 11th have probably more specific reasonings for it. So that's what I'm hearing. So my gut right now is I'm keeping it on the 25th. But I wanted to ask first and get everybody's feedback. All right. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to get feedback on the date. I think we're going to continue on the 25th. And so we'll be sending out some more emails and getting that process moving.
I think something we can just continue to do is really scour our clubs for future leaders to be area directors. Even if someone hasn't completed their term yet, 6 months of being a club officer, when they start, they will have been there for 6 months, right? If they're currently the president or VPE. So I think it's important, if you have some high potential leader in your club, just say like, hey, this is the next level. You're going to get a lot more exposure. You're going to learn a lot more. I was a president for only like 6 months when I realized that area director wasn't the thing. So find those highly motivated people and bring them in.
Perfect. Last thing before I kick you all back to enjoy your Saturdays, as we go through more discussions on the realignment, if you know Robin coming into a division, Garrett coming into your division, you will absolutely be included in all discussions about realignment because you want to know what you're inheriting, and in my opinion, your views matter a lot. So I just want you to know that we're going to be transparent and include you in all discussions. So don't worry, you're not going to get left out on anything. We want to hear from you and get your feedback. And we'll have more detailed plans and things going into the business meeting on the 25th.
Hey, Kevin, what about this showcase? Do you want to just mention what this showcase, the virtual showcase?
Yes. Okay. So another thing that we're doing, I'm going to email all of this. So don't worry if people aren't here, they're not missing anything. So in past years, the nominated candidates had an opportunity to be recognized at contests, and at the in-person conference there was a candidate corner where people would have flyers and things they could hand out. Obviously we don't have an option for that. I also think this year we have, I mean, I'm just like stoked. You are all incredibly talented leaders and communicators, and we want to make sure that people learn more about you beyond sending 1 or 2 campaign communications, which I don't think is enough. I want to make sure people can learn more about you. And so there will be a candidate showcase, which we're planning to do in the hour before the business meeting. And what it is, it's kind of like the table topics contest. So what it is, and everybody, whether you're in a contested role or not, has an opportunity to participate, but it's an opportunity to get asked questions about yourself, your views on life, Toastmasters, namely about your role in Toastmasters and your thoughts and plans for the year ahead. So you'll have an opportunity. We haven't set the time limit for kind of, you'll be able to get, 3, 4, 5, maybe more questions. You have a chunk of time where you'll be asked questions and you can share your views, so people can learn more about you, basically. We didn't do that last year, right? All you had was a 2-minute speech during the business meeting. Mm-hmm. And that's not a lot of time, is it?
No.
No. So we want to just, it's optional. You don't have to participate. No, not twisting anybody's arms. But I think if you're in, like Ed, George, Julie, there's 3 of you running for program quality director. This would be a great opportunity to share your views on things so people can make a more informed decision. All right, that's the only purpose. We want to make sure you have more than 2 minutes so people can learn more about you. So we'll have more details as we get closer.
Hey, Kevin, you said that we could also do the 2 written speaker highlights that will go out to the district as a whole. When are those due?
So the first one has passed. When I emailed you all a week or 2 ago, the deadline was March 15th for the last one. And then I think basically between now and April 25th, you can send a campaign communication to all members of the district council by email. So we'll get you the email list and you can send one campaign communication to them. We'll give you some more details on that.
Great, thank you.
Super.
All right. So that's it. I just want to get feedback on the dates, and we're going to stick with it and let you know about the showcase. Thank you, Bet. And I'm going to stick around. I think Steve has some questions on contest prep and training. So I'm going to stick around, and Bet's maybe is going to stick around too if you have more questions for us.
Sure.
Otherwise, go forth and shelter.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Will I learn more about the technical aspect if I stay on with the group?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Why not?
definitely.
Can we get a 5-minute coffee break? Maybe 2 minutes.
You know what?
As long as you want, I'll stick around.
If you need a break, no one is stopping you.
I'll be right back.
You're in the freedom of your own home. Just make sure you go on mute. Just for our sanity. Okay. I'm gonna mute him.
All right.
Kevin.
Yes, Wing.
I am wondering, was there a Division D contest tracking template that was sent out to Division D for editing?
B as in boy?
Delta.
David.
Delta? Let me go look for it.
Giroux's been doing a pretty good job.
Shared.
And I think he's moving forward. Sorry, Ashley, I had blocked your video earlier for some reason. It made sense at the time.
Okay, I'll check in with, Robin's on the call too. I can check in with him later on this evening to see. I know who's the chief judge. I sent out the information. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any information that's out there floating around already. That's all. Thank you.
So
Wing, while you're on, what's your email? And I'll send you the one for Division B that's mostly filled out.
I actually have hang on, I think I was looking at it. Okay, so I was looking at it and, okay. I may not have been actually having the latest version. Yeah, if you can, I'll send you my email address and send me the latest version, because I think the one that Kevin sent out was last edited 6 days ago, so I may not have been seeing the...
Just give it to me really quickly, because I've got it up on the screen.
Okay, let me send my email address to you, because I have had, unfortunately, people sending the wrong person, and he is not pleased.
Okay.
Between my brother and I, he has been getting all of the misfilled email address, and that guy is not pleased.
Okay.
Send that to you. Let me type the private email, or just send to everyone. Hang on. Computer's not okay. Here it is. Here goes. So make sure I type it correctly myself.
I'm gonna stop the recording now because I think we're good.
So Kevin, the